Alrighty, and we're here. Okay, so we are. What is this? Episode 6, if I remember rightly.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, and yeah, probably the last session before the end of this uh mini campaign. So without further ado, I will start. Okay, so. Last we left off, you had made it to Bismere, where you had investigated the apparent death of Chen. In your investigations, you found that Chen actually hadn't been killed, but instead a decoy had. And the decoy had become the victim of a paranoid priest. Uh, in your confrontation with the head priest, with a crafty little bit of shenanigans from a cache, the encounter resulted in a dead priest, some scared acolytes, and a passive aggressive warning not to impersonate an assassin grandmaster in the future. But with that mission done, and a letter sent back to Aasimar saying that Shen had been found alive and well, you guys had turned back onto the roads to Mun, specifically to Amberhall, which is a small sort of village that buffets the city. Um, so you went on your way, having purchased a horse and carriage, and ultimately found yourself at a lone hut on the roads, occupied by a hag named Morgan. So he offered you glimpses into the future and information about yourselves, not to mention the magical artifacts in his possession. You all refused the gifts, and instead instead of the risk of temptation throughout the night, you had piled into your carriage and you had set off down the road once again. Pushing through the night, Shade took the responsibility of piloting the carriage whilst the rest of you slept. Shade, up alone in the driver's seat, noticed the watchful gaze of black dogs and a lone figure atop a horse. With that uncomfortable presence watching your advance, the rest of you slept soundly. That is all except for Angorr, who once again finds himself at a desk in a place he is unfamiliar with. So, we begin our session with Angorr sat at the desk. Across from him, on the other side of the desk, sat in a seat built for a humanoid person, is a small, bright green, golden. Small, bright, golden elephant-like creature, which is sitting, just sort of staring up at you every now and then. You're fairly sure the elephant is smiling, and her little wing ears flutter a bit. She goes, "It's good to finally meet you, Angorr." She grins, cocking her head a bit as if waiting for an answer.
You're not the person I was expecting behind this desk. Can I get your name? Is there a nameplate?
No, there's no nameplate. And she goes,
Okay.
my name is Yofi. I'm your guide.
Can I get a spelling?
Yofi.
Good to meet you. You my what?
I'm your guide.
Just a look of confusion on Angor's face as he looks across the table. Right. Guide to what?
Well, on the journey to embrace your lineage.
Look of confusion as I sat there.
Oh,
Alright.
You don't
I'm
know.
going to need some explanation here. Didn't really get to ask last time. Said my name and got kicked out last time I was here. Who's
She.
here exactly?
It's a little bit complicated, and I'm not sure you would believe me if I told you.
There's been a lot of me not believing stuff people tell me the last few hours.
Are you sure you want to know?
How bad can it be?
If you're sure,
Sure.
you are on the Silver City on the moon.
Uh, uh, excuse me? Come again?
I told you wouldn't believe me.
John, would I know anything about the Silver City on the moon?
You've never heard of it before.
Okay.
If you roll me a religion check,
When did I get good at religion checks? +3, I don't remember having that.
okay. You remember uh stories about the Lady of Dreams and her palace that's on the moon? You're fairly sure you're not there. Um, but with that role, I will say that when you had been reading the Witch's Glamour magazines, one of the headlines that you had read was these people that lived on like a big hill, and they had an observatory, and they had been claiming that there's a silver city on the moon, but nobody was believing them.
The Silver City was just made by a bunch of crazy people on the moon that was made for a magazine.
Oh, well, no. Well, if that's troubling, they shouldn't be able to see us. It might be something to look into at some point, but
I don't know the
that,
hell if that helps.
that's we can find them probably. That's not really why you're here, though. I didn't mean to disrupt your journey, but I've got a little bit of a problem,
Okay.
and I think you can help.
Okay.
I've got a friend in Mun. She's been there a while, but I think you can help.
Is she like you?
Um, if you mean a being of celestial origins, yes, she's not like me. Her name is Alma. She's a Lamassu.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
you need to tell her. You need to tell her to leave before things happen. Okay?
Wait? What do you mean before things happen?
And as you're asking that, you see uh, her left wing ear flicker over in the direction of the door that's behind her. She turns and looks, and she goes, "Oh, oh no, he's coming. Okay, okay, I need to send you back now.
Who's coming? What? Who's coming?
Remember, Alma, tell her to leave before things happen." And
What does
as
she look
you're
like?
as you're asking this, asking a whole bunch of questions, and you see her just sort of looking uh around the chair and out the door as you hear footsteps coming towards the door. A bright light engulfs you. You hear a strong hum to the point where you wince and you blink as the hum gets louder and louder and starts causing you pain. And then everything goes black. And as Angorr dissipates from the Silver City, inside the carriage, Akash and Colfus, you begin to awaken as sunlight filters into the carriage between the gaps of the curtains. As comfortable as the carriage has been for a few hours, you are sore and very slightly cold. The drowsiness of the morning forces you to take a moment until you realize there is no sign of Angorr.
Okay, that's not good.
But, one moment. Oh, hey, Shade.
I assume I'm in the front driving the carriage still?
Oh, is this an open carriage or a closed carriage?
I thought it was closed.
What was that, sorry? Can you repeat that?
I was asking, I assume I'm still driving the carriage at
Yes,
this
you
point?
are. Yeah, you're on the outside.
And is the carriage open or closed? I assume it was closed.
It's a closed carriage. Yeah, the window it's got like the sort of classic. There's the door on either side, and windows, and the windows are covered by curtains on the inside.
Okay, we'll pretend there's a partition that you can speak to the driver.
Yeah, there would be. Yeah.
Morning, sleepyhead.
Oh, what you and Angorr doing?
What do you mean, me and Angorr? I'm up here driving.
I mean, you and Angorr, like, he's not in here.
Okay, quick perception check around. I assume I
Alrighty.
actually need to roll perception.
Yeah. Everybody, roll perception checks, please. Who's currently present on the material plane?
Where's my thing? There it is.
Ooh.
Pretty good. And then Wolf and
Wow, brain.
Colfus.
Sorry, I'm looking for it. Apparently,
No
my
worries.
perception check has failed.
It's fine. I always end up accidentally clicking performance instead of perception when I do it.
Oh, that would have given a completely different role for me.
Yeah. Wow. Everybody's above 20. Okay. So, yeah, as you sort of look around, no sign of Angorr until there's like it's the sound of like feathers rustling as something sort of dives that's invisible, and then with a light sort of thump inside of the carriage, you'll turn as Angorr just appears out of nowhere.
Am I conscious?
You're conscious, yeah. As you're sort of looking around, everybody's looking at you, like you literally just dropped out of thin air.
Morning.
Well, there he is.
Well, that's a neat trick.
And where, may I ask, have you been?
It's a fun question. Um,
I'm slowing the cart a little bit to listen to
Mhm.
all this, but still driving.
would you believe me if I said the moon?
Well, okay. When we're looking for an answer, we would hope it would be honest.
It's the best answer I can give you.
So your answer is fanciful.
My answer is I was on the moon. In a city. Silver City or something. I don't remember.
And bearing in mind that I'm still driving, so I'm probably going to make this roll at disadvantage. But can I see if there's anything off about our warlock friend? Anything like maybe there's some feathers left on him? Because you said there was a rustling sound. Anything that
Yeah.
looks out of place or different from when I saw him last?
Roll a perception check at disadvantage as you're looking over your shoulder through a narrow little window.
13.
Yeah, it. From what you can see, he looks normal.
Well, that must have been one hell of a dream to be on the moon. But seriously, how'd you pop out of thin air like that?
Never mind that. He was back here with us. How did he hop out, run over there, without anyone noticing, including yourself?
Look, I don't know what's happened.
I literally like the only one that actually has the potential to believe the fact that he was on the moon.
I don't know what's happened. I'm as confused as you. I woke up in a chair and was told I was on the moon.
Told by who?
Yofi, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but
All right, Angorr, you can be honest. Have you been drinking?
not recently. She asked me about a job. I think it may have just been a bad dream, but I don't know what you're talking. What happened? I just so John.
Uh-huh.
Is it like I woke up and I was in the back of the car, or like did I just appear in the back of the car?
From your perspective, it was as if you had woken up in the car.
Look, I just woke up and everyone was looking at me, saying I wasn't. Pretend as if I wasn't here.
So, I'm not exactly up on my magic, but magic sleepwalking? And I turn to Akash. Is that a thing? He can just disappear and teleport back in his dreams?
I mean, I could do it with you, but you wouldn't be like physically disappearing. But you do realize like my people originated from a different plane of existence, right? Like
I don't
is
know.
it-
You're the one that knows all the magic shit. I shoot things.
I play instruments.
Yeah, that make people get like all delusional and love you for it.
That's because I'm good at it.
Right. And that's why they throw us out each morning.
Hey, that one was on you.
Uh-huh, you keep telling yourself that.
I had to break it to you, Shade, but if he had a bad performance, they would have kicked us out at the end of that performance, or before it. They wouldn't have had the decency to wait till morning.
Oh, it wasn't his performance that caused the problem. It was what he did afterwards. And I just give them this knowing, squinty-eyed look.
So then, nothing to do with him playing the music.
Like I said, magic music makes people fall in love with you temporarily. Anyway, my question still remains. Magic sleepwalking? Or teleporting? Whatever the hell it is.
Okay, GM, can I do an Arcana check to see if Akash has been teleported back and forth into places, or get any references from this?
You can roll an Arcana check. This is more of a knowledge as to whether it would be possible. Um, yeah, for all you know, magic sleepwalking is a thing that can happen. You know that people can teleport, and it's not within the realms of disbelief that someone can activate their teleportation magics whilst they're sleeping.
I mean, Angorr, have you ever teleported? Like, on purpose?
I can't say I have.
Do you think you could? And Akash is like giving him like the weird side angle look.
And the times that I've had my powers for? No, I don't think I have. Or could.
I don't know. Maybe we'll try hypnotizing him later.
Well, hypnotize him after he takes over for driving. I haven't gotten any sleep. When do you want to get up here and drive?
Oh no. Oh, actually, Angorr, yeah, you can go up there. But remember,
Sure you want
you're only this tired because of your own stupidity.
You sure you want me up there? What if I teleport away again?
Just don't let Akash drive.
That's fine. I'll drive. Get some rest.
Alrighty. So I assume, Shade, you pull up into like a little grassy area next to the road, and you hop off, and Office hops on.
Yeah, so I know I don't have enough time to get a long rest. And I made my save, so I didn't take the point of exhaustion, but I should take a short rest, right?
Depends on if something happens between here and Amberhall. You could have enough time.
Okay. All right. I
'Cause
will. I
don't
won't
know.
enter
You-
the short rest or the rest yet because I'm just trying to figure out am I going to get my spell slots back because I'm down to 1.
you are approximately at this point you had traveled out of Bismir about 20 miles. So you're about 45 miles a bit, and at a normal pace you only really move about 25 miles. Unless you're really pushing the horse. So yeah, you've got like a day and a half before you're arriving at Amberhall. So if you would like to take a long rest whilst you're traveling, just depends on if something happens on this day.
Okay. I will go to retire into the
Mhm.
cabin compartment, whatever we're calling it, to try and get some rest. And I will quietly make mention to Cultus on my way back that during the night, I was fairly confident that I saw a horseman and 2 what I took to be dogs following us along the trail, and that he should keep an eye open.
All right.
Alrighty. Since you're driving, Corvus, can you roll me a d20, please?
All right.
Just a flat d20. No modifiers or anything like that.
Okay. 19. Although it doesn't seem to be showing up here.
19? Okay.
So just on the announcement of this though, so if Shade is trying to actually get sleep, Akash is probably sat on the roof playing quite noisily.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you little shit.
Let's see if you can. let's see if you can drown him out. Roll a Constitution saving throw.
Yeah, sure. Okay, con save. That's a no.
Yeah.
I would like to think, as a point of decency, Cultus would probably speak up.
Well, yeah. Hold on, real quick. Yeah. So as Akash starts playing, probably I doubt Akash will do it immediately, but possibly like wait a little bit as she is like just about to start. Start to rest, and then you start playing. Colphus, you're about to turn and look over your shoulder at Akash and try and convince him to start when you notice just off the road, possibly not too far, but probably like maybe 100 feet off the road, if that. There appears to be a horse lying on the ground, not moving.
Okay, sorry, and that's like more or less beside us, or
Yeah, it's like just off to like the right hand side of the road, like 100 feet off it.
okay. Coulthus is gonna ease to a stop, just and point out the horse.
If you would like to roll me a perception check, real quick. Just sort of looking over in that direction and motioning for everybody else to look at it as well. Ah, 16. Okay. Yeah, so now that you're looking at it properly, you see the it is most definitely a bloody corpse of a horse that has saddlebags and riding gear. It looks like it has been torn apart by something. But with your 16, just glinting in the rising sun, it's probably like you're still early morning at this point. It's like maybe 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. So the sun has risen off the horizon and is now sort of lighting everything up. Glinting in the light, you see what appears to be a sword in the grass, just next to the horse, and tracking that sword a little bit, you think you can see the body of a of its rider, just sort of obscured slightly by the corpse of the horse.
I
Okay.
assume between the loud noises on the roof and Cultus's actions that I have been roused, or that I never really got any rest.
Yeah, no, this didn't. Yeah, you had settled in for like maybe half hour. Akash had started playing maybe like 20 minutes into that. And yeah, and then Colphus is able to point out the corpse of the horse that's there, and then now that Colphus is noticing it, there's the sword and the rider, looking as though they've been attacked whilst he was riding.
Looks like we've got an unfortunate traveler here.
Any signs of life on the rider?
No, doesn't. No
Yeah.
signs of life.
Hold one. I want to take a look at the horse, see if this was predators of the 4-legged or the 2-legged variety. I'd like to inspect the body of the horse to see if I can determine what attacked it.
All right, so just for a point of reference, we're going to do marching order first, real quick, because I want to know who's where. So Shade, you're hopping off the carriage and you're heading over to the corpse. Where are the rest of you?
Coulthus will follow. He's going to check on the
Yeah.
I kind of want to be in the middle.
Alrighty.
Akash was going to actually look after our horse because, you know, it's been overly worked in the last 12 hours.
Alrighty, so you're staying with the carriage. We'll say Shet is also there with you, Akash, along with his little mouse. Alrighty. So if you would
So
like...
rat,
Yeah. Okay. Give me a second. If Shade, if you would like to roll me a medicine check, please, as you try to determine the cause of death.
Okay. Any way I could argue for survival if it's potentially a natural attack, or
It's medicine
I don't
because
know that. Okay.
it's medicine because you're trying to figure out what had killed the creature. Alrighty, yeah. It definitely looks like it's from a beast of some nature. And when I say beast, I'm not talking about the category. I'm talking about like some sort of creature, like a monster. So that kind of has to be referenced in.
Yeah,
D&D.
not a something wielding a weapon or a sword or
Yeah.
something of that ilk.
Not of a humanoid persuasion. Whatever it is, was accurate and highly targeted. It looks like whatever it is was able to break possibly the neck of the horse in one movement. It seems that the rider had been trapped underneath the horse and was then sort of set upon by some sort of sharp implement. Based on your role, I would say it probably is some talons. You've never seen something on this sort of scale, but it looks quite similar to an injury caused by some sort of bird of prey.
Okay. Do I see any signs that whatever killed them then tried to eat them, or does this look like it was maybe done for sport?
The horse definitely looks like it's been eaten in part. But it doesn't look like whatever was eating it has either finished or may have been spooked and flew off as well. It's a half-eaten meal, basically, is what you found.
Well, whatever wild thing did this, we either disrupted it or it never finished its meal. Maybe a bird of prey, but I don't know of anything big enough to do this. Okay. As I say that, could I make a lore or a nature check to know if I know of anything big enough to do this?
I'll give you options. You can do nature, history, or arcana.
Okay. I think nature fits the role best, and they're all equal for me, so I'm just gonna seek nature.
Well, I don't think we disturbed anything.
Yeah,
We'll
no,
just
I
see
don't know,
it
Jack.
flying off.
Yeah, like beyond what you're fairly sure is probably a big bird. You don't really have much in the way of that.
Yeah, different country. I
Um,
didn't grow up here. I don't know the lore and the history here. It's a big bird.
Akash, as you're standing near the carriage, you're hearing that sound of feathers again. Although quite a bit louder. SP?
Sorry, what was that? What did you say?
With you standing by the carriage, you are hearing the sound of the feathers again that you had heard when Angorr appeared, but this time it's a lot louder.
Okay. So obviously he's going to be looking around.
Uh-huh.
Is Angorr moving?
Angor's quite a bit away from you. He's heading with Colphus and Shade. At this point, they have made it to the corpse. Colphus and Angorr are standing nearby as Shade is examining the wounds, and you're hearing the sound.
Okay, I'm going to slowly just pull out my dagger because this isn't right.
Uh-huh.
Da, 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 da.
They're doing anything else?
And yeah, does damn it, what's his name?
That?
Shet give off the appearance that he can hear it as well?
Yeah, he does. He's sort of looking around like, what is that noise?
No, but this isn't going to sound good.
Mm.
I'm going to scream over to that Angorr to tell him to stop moving and eyes up.
I'll look back and be like,
Oh, you did the echo thing again.
oh, sorry. I'll look up, I'll stop moving and turn back and look at Akash and then look up.
Okay, and as you do that, a giant eagle descends out of the air and impacts against your horse.
Son of
Let's see.
Maybe Akash should have been looking up.
That's a natural 20. Wow. Okay.
Oh, rip horse.
I
9.
think that's exactly what it's done Overkill. It's probably ripped the horse in half.
Yeah. So, you just see this horse just crumble underneath the giant eagle as it just sort of lands and doesn't even seem to stop moving as the impact happened. The horse just sort of crumples down. And Akash and Shet, you're almost knocked to the ground yourselves as you're sort of standing around the horse. As this large creature now is in place of where the horse used to be. And I'm going to need you guys to roll initiative. That really isn't a map. This is like massively open terrain, completely flat. So, alrighty. Look at
I
Cash.
roll quite
Angorr,
good
Shade,
on initiative for some
Alphas.
reason.
I need to bring Shed out so I can add him to the initiative order.
Man, the two party members with the highest boost to our initiative get at the bottom of the initiative order consistently.
It's about time I roll high in initiative. I'm always at the bottom. Don't know what I'm doing now, though.
I'm guessing is initiative off of Constitution then?
No, it's dexterity.
Then how do I have a +4?
Because you add half your proficiency bonus to initiative rolls, I believe. So
Okay.
your jack of all trades. Alrighty. Okay, so we do have a three-way tie, but players go before monsters. So, Akash. You are stood next to a giant eagle that is on the ground. Having just taken out your horse.
I'm stood right next to a giant mother eagle that is right next to me. Okay, this doesn't sound like a good idea. And obviously I am too close. I'm looking at my spells now.
Just remember, if your spell is an attack roll, unless you've got crossbow expert, you've got disadvantage attack. If it's a save, you're good. Oh dear, lads. There isn't an opposite of inspiration in this, so I can't give you disadvantage, at least from what I understand there isn't. But I'm tempted to.
I'm going to go with Distant Whispers again.
Distant Whispers. That's a wisdom saving throw. Can you post that in chat, please? Because there might be caveats.
Okay, how do I just put it on?
So if you cast it with the Beyond 20 thing, it should post it in the chat, and then we can just press the arrow to see the description.
Oh, okay. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah. Oh, that looks like a hefty amount of damage. Okay. The wisdom saving throw DC 13. Okay, the target. Okay, it's not deafened, so there's that. Oh, that's a fail. Yeah, it's only got a +2 to its wisdom. So yeah, it takes 16 damage. You all hear a sort of cry out of like an eagle as Distant Whispers takes hold. Yeah, no, you've done some significant damage to it.
And John?
Yeah.
It has to move away from me as fast as it can, as far as it can.
Is it a reaction?
On a failed save, it takes 3d6 damage on increase.
Oh, and immediately uses its action if available to move as far from you as it can. Okay. So yeah, as quickly as it landed, the giant eagle will sort of start beating its massive wings, and it'll quickly soar up into the air at 60 feet off the ground. Sorry, no, not 60 feet, 80 feet.
80 feet off the ground. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And with that, now it's I'm no longer next to it. I am now going to move into a point of cover if I can, like under.
Oh yeah, there's probably like a tree, a bush,
Yeah.
a big rock. Yeah, easily enough now.
I didn't want to move and get attacked before.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Before I did that, that's all.
Hey,
Wow.
Angorr, your turn.
How far away from the bird am I?
Okay, I'm not gonna do trigonometry.
Okay, thank you.
But you because you've made it to the corpse, you're 100 feet along the ground. So I will say at this point you're about 100 feet away from the giant eagle.
Okay. I can move, cast cantrip and spell in the same turn, right?
You can use your turn however you like, just as long as you
Okay.
stick to a single action, a single bonus action, and a single movement.
I was just making sure movement wasn't an action.
Yep.
Then I will. Okay, which one of these is the bonus action first? Thing on.
Just remember, if you're casting multiple spells in a turn, if it's a leveled spell, you can you can only cast one of them, and then as a bonus action, you need to do a cantrip.
I am going to move. Am I out in the open right now?
Yeah, massively out in the open. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any cover?
There's probably like maybe like a trench or like a divot in the field that you're in.
Okay, I'm going to try and move. What's my movement? Walking. So
30
if there's one
feet,
within
probably.
if there's one within 30 feet and close to the bird, I kind of want to advance towards the bird and find like a divot or something to like jump into.
Yeah, probably easily enough done. You get into like a little stream area. Not enough that it's gonna soak your boots, but you know, it's
just something if the bird comes towards me, I want like duck into.
Yep.
So I don't get like decapitated.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I'm going to do is cast a bonus action as X. It has a range of 90 feet.
Yeah. I think that just happens, doesn't it? There's no save.
Yeah. Let me check. I need to cast it first. But there might be a save.
No, I think it just happens. Because it's like Hunter's Mark.
Fuck. I need to pick something though, don't I?
Yeah. which will give it disadvantage on ability checks with that specific thing. If you want to save your spells, because Hex is a leveled spell, if I remember rightly,
Yeah.
probably not going to be helpful in this combat.
Okay, I will save my spells. In that case, I will. Okay, save my spells, and I will just Eldritch Blast it.
Yeah, sure.
Does
On
it
your
act as a
attack?
dance or anything?
Nope, you're well within range, I believe, because
Yeah.
Eldritch Blast is 120 feet. You've moved 30 feet, so
Yep. Normal roll.
yep. It's 23 to hit. Roll damage.
3 damage.
3 damage.
Gotta
Okay.
love the cantrip.
Yeah, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, Angorr, but you don't have the stuff that the invocations that boost that, right?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't have anything that like makes
anything
that
else?
broken.
Anything else that you want to do?
Is there a way for me to check my bonus actions? That's gonna be stupid. For now, anyway. I know that's me.
Okay. Alrighty, yeah, okay. I think Dissonant Whispers doesn't keep it away from you, it's just for that turn specifically. Yeah, you're near its food source, Akash, and you've just done a significant damage to it.
It's why I ran away.
Yeah, but it's got an 80-foot of movement. And I'm not doing
I know.
trigonometry to work out.
I know. It's why I ran into off into the cover though. That's afterwards.
Yeah, you will get you'll get a slight bonus to your AC, which might apply. Okay, yeah. So you see, those of you that are sort of surrounding this creature as it's surrounding the area. Sorry. The giant eagle notices where Akash has gone and starts swooping down towards him. One of those is a natural 20 because it's got 2 attacks, and one of those is a 4. I rolled them at the same time because that just makes it a bit easier and faster for me. So its first attack is going to be the natural 20, which, yeah, as it swoops down, it's going to peck you. Unfortunately, your cover is not going to apply here. It probably won't get you even close to a natural 20. Sorry, which would have been 25, so unless you got able to get even close to that, probably not. And that's if that 20s weren't automatic hits. So that is going to be 2d6 damage. 5, 10. That's 13 damage as it does a sort of drive-by pecking of you.
Okay, 13 damage taken.
It's like right above your head as it ends its turn. Shade.
Oh, okay. So it's really, really close to me.
Yes.
And I assume since you described the area as we're kind of on the roadside, this is a very open, exposed space.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot in the way of cover.
You can probably find like a rock or a bush or something like that to hide behind. There's nothing in the way of shade besides yourself.
Yes, and I heard the snickering, Lance. How far am I from the cart at this point?
100 foot.
Carriage?
100
oh,
foot.
100 foot.
Because you're near where the horse is. Oh, sorry. I think you'd misheard me earlier. The giant eagle is above Akash's head, not yourself. Yourself, you're about, I would say, about 70-ish feet away from the eagle at this point.
Okay. So I'm going to move my full movement, and because of Dread Ambusher, and this is the first round of combat, that's an extra 10 feet, so I think I've got 40 feet of movement.
Yes, you can get within 30 feet of it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get 40 feet straight at it, and I am going to I'm not going to burn Hunter's Mark. I
Mhm.
am going to use my attack on the crossbow, and I'm my hand crossbow,
Yeah, yeah.
because I got the new hand crossbow, and I'm going to burn sharpshooter to take a -5 to my hit, but a +10 to the damage if I land.
Wow, okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Brave.
Um, okay, there's all right. We'll just have to minus the 5 once we
Yeah,
roll it.
that's fine. Easily enough done. Wow.
Yeah, I think that's gonna hit.
22. That's definitely a hit.
Okay, this is where it gets a little silly.
Uh-huh.
I took the attack action on my first turn with Dread Ambusher, which adds a 1d8 to my damage.
Mm-hmm.
Plus my sharpshooter adds I want to say it's a 1d10. Or is it a
I
straight
think-
+10?
I thought you said it was a straight +10.
I think it's a +10, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna roll my 1d. I'm gonna roll my damage from the crossbow, but then I have to also roll a 1d8 and then add 10.
Yeah.
Of course, that's a 1.
16 so far.
So 16, and then I roll the d8.
A D8, yeah.
So
Probably.
that's a 3. So that's 19.
Alrighty. Yeah, so you notice that the giant eagle is coming more or less towards you at this point as you start running. And you catch the look in its eyes as it's just sort of murderous in nature. You line up that shot and you probably get it like right in the eye. As you fire that shot, and the creature just comes impacting into the ground ahead of you and just makes up that 30 feet of distance between yourself and the eagle as it lands, almost touching your boots.
Is it still?
It's dead.
Okay, it's dead.
Dead, yeah.
Yay.
And you are out of combat.
Ow.
Yeah, you're out of combat. And there is a large giant eagle pops in front of you.
Well, that solves the mystery of who attacked the rider. Is our horse still alive?
Certainly not, unfortunately.
So what estate is the horse in, John?
Oh, it's very much dead.
You rolled a natural 20 on a diving attack? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hope.
There might be a chance I could save it.
Well, if you have revivification, you could save
Yeah.
it. But no, that horse is it's very dead, I'm afraid.
Well, that's unfortunate. I don't suppose any of you fancy drawing the carriage. Guess we're doing this on foot.
Pretty much.
Hey. And after such a rough night as well. Oh.
Let's gather what we can.
Check Shet's stat real quick.
As respectfully as possible, I would like to quickly check the traveler for any identification, any valuables, and then bury him.
Roll an investigation check for me, please. Okay, no, he doesn't have powerful builds. Okay.
Cultist will help as far as laying the guy to rest.
I'll probably get in range with a cash and cast healing light. 2 healing lights worth on him.
Alrighty.
I've only taken 13 damage.
Okay, well, hopefully I roll a 12. Only rolling 2d6.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Shade, as you're sort of checking the pockets and having a root around for any sort of documentation or identification. The only thing that you really find on this person is an amulet of the brothers, who you know that is basically the patron god of adventurers and soldiers and stuff like that. So you're really familiar with them, and you get the feeling that probably someone a bit more knowledgeable in that might be able to identify the person based on their pendant. Really be able to figure out, who it is.
Okay, I'll try to basically commit to memory a rough description of the individual. I'll take the amulet, and then
Yeah.
with Cultus's help,
Mhm.
maybe not dig a deep grave, but at least build a large enough pile of stones that he won't be disturbed.
Yeah, so assuming you take some stuff from him, you do find a longsword and an explorer's kit.
I'm feeling like we're going to be pretty heavily burdened if there's nothing of particular note. I'd probably just leave his gear with him.
Alrighty.
Unless anyone feels the need for a longsword.
No, that seems like a very personal weapon and should be buried with him.
Agreed.
I know we haven't really said much about Akash's backstory, John,
Mm-hmm.
but with Akash's mother on that, would Akash be able to leave setting the body to rest?
Yeah, you probably would. I mean, human practices are a little bit strange to you, but yeah, you definitely are able to figure that out. Yeah, easily enough.
Or just, completely copy and paste one of his mother's?
Yeah, I mean, you know songs, you know stories, and that sort of profession lends itself really well to remembering like seances and prayers and stuff like that. You can copy it easily enough in your native language. Yeah, so you spend maybe like 2 hours or so burying the guy, making sure that the rites are observed as best as possible. And you load, or unload, I should say, whatever gear you had on the carriage that you can carry. Knowing you're about, a day out from Amberhall at this point.
Oh, so who's carrying the tent?
I'll take care of it.
Thank you, Corthus. Right, chaps, pick up the pace. Let's go.
Having breakfast on the move this morning.
Yeah, Shet would have probably been cleaning himself in the stream, because that eagle attack, he was probably in the spray zone. So, yeah,
Yeah, we will confirm he was cleaning himself from the horse's blood.
yeah.
I was
Not
gonna say,
Akash's,
is he
yeah.
injured?
Was this sorry?
I'm going to say, did Shet get injured?
No, he just got sprayed in the attack. But yeah, okay. So you guys start walking along the road. Unfortunately for you, Shade, resting can't be done whilst you're walking.
Yep.
Or at least not whilst you're conscious and walking, at least. So you guys begin the long journey on foot. Can I have a d20 roll done by Angorr this time?
Sure.
This is flat D20, no bonuses or anything like that.
Yeah, minor point of reference because
I rolled a natural 20.
Wow. Okay.
Nice.
Maybe not so nice in this case.
I was going to say
of
this
course.
is in the.
Alrighty. Give me a second.
What was your point of reference, Shade? Have you got any spell slots left?
I have a singular spell slot left. I didn't burn that. No, this is just continuing Shade and Akash's ongoing squabble from this morning. Given that we are each there are 4 tents and 4 of us. Well, I guess 5 of us now. Shade is going to pick up one of the tents and more or less chuck it at Akash. No, this is your gift for that wonderful performance this morning. You can carry your own damn tent. While he
dear.
slings one over his shoulder for himself and starts walking.
Okay.
I still wonder, why do we have so many tents?
Well, we bought 2 because we thought we were going to have to share before we left Lunar Bridge. Then while we were on the river, we found we found washed up on the shore a crate. Or no, not washed up on the shore. I fell into the river trying to get one. We found a crate that had 2 more tents.
Yeah.
So we ended up with a tent for each person. Plus, I think Shet brought his own gear.
Angorr and Shet bunked. Shet doesn't have a tent of his own.
Okay, so Angorr and Shet have been bunking together, but everybody else has their own tent.
Alrighty. Okay. Akash,
Hello.
can you roll a d12 for me, please?
1d12.
1d12. And Shade, can you roll me a d8?
Oh no. Okay.
This is not a D20.
Okay. Followed by
This
the...
is like how
Fuck's
many
sake,
creatures,
Shade.
isn't it, or whatever?
Wait, how did his? Oh, did you do the /R?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Okay.
how did his show up and mine didn't? I rolled a 2.
Yeah.
John.
2. Okay. So for an 8 total. Okay.
What have you done?
Alrighty. As the day passes on, the open terrain of this place just goes on and on and on, until you see a small camp just ahead of you. And sat between 2 sort of lean-to tents, you see 2 satyrs that look somewhat like Shet. Sort of playing playing pan flutes by the side of the road.
I mean, is it time for a break?
You can have a break.
How long have we been walking for at this point?
Hours.
Okay.
It would be a good idea.
Yeah, this would be a.
Yeah,
Akash.
it's heading towards evening at this point, so you're like, yeah, we probably should rest for the evening.
Akash would easily walk up to them as long as Shet is not giving them the stink eye or worried eye.
Shet is very confused as to why there are 2 satyr down the road.
So Akash would just call out and just would, ahoy, fellow musicians!
Oh, hello. Do you want to join us?
Akash is just literally going to pull out his own pan flute and just know anything from the element of air?
They sort of look at each other and they go, "Well, we're pretty good at improvising."
Oh, well, if you fancy playing with me and my comrades, just sit around and enjoy. It is getting pretty late for ourselves. We've been traveling all morning and all night, and he just glares at Shade.
They
Shade, meanwhile, is pulling out a candle and breaking off some balls of wax to make some impromptu earplugs.
okay. They do look between you, and then they notice Shet, and they look at each other, and they look at him, and they go, "Oh, it's you." And Shet goes, "Really? Here? Okay."
Angorr will look over at Shen's like, friends of yours?
Family.
Oh, that's always fun. Big family?
We tend to get around.
Yeah, that's what.
I'm not going to say anything to that.
No. Oh, I am. I'm jumping all over that. I was like,
Huh?
and Shade just casually mentioned, yeah, that's what Akash tells other girls too.
Shet sort of looks at you and goes, "No, we really do get around. Like, not me specifically, but our family. Yeah." And he begrudgingly takes out the one of the folding stools from his bags, and goes and sits by the campfire. Yeah, what do the rest of you do?
This is probably a fair bit starving by now, so he's gonna set up and get about making something to eat.
Alrighty. That's a good question. What are you doing for food this evening? Are you using rations?
Could we have said we cut up a couple of good steaks from the horses?
What?
No.
Why not Tesco?
Not Tesco. Oh boy, that's a callback for a couple of years ago. So a couple of years ago, that's probably like
There is
2012 at this
nothing
point.
wrong with horse steak. Horse steak is yum.
Why not the giant birds?
I mean, we could have roasted bird, I suppose, or pot chicken.
I mean, I don't know from experience, but from what I hear, eagle doesn't taste very good.
Yeah, Shade is far too tired to hunt, and after the night and day he has now had, no,
Mhm.
he's just putting in the earplugs. He doesn't want to deal with any of this bullshit. He is eating his ration and let them fight amongst themselves.
I will say at some point there would be a scene where Shade just vanishes. Infinite.
Exactly.
And you guys are about to be like, has he gone as well? Is this another Angorr situation? And you probably get like a couple of footsteps of Shade as he mills about in the background, avoiding this sort of situation.
He's probably huddled up in a blanket next to a tree somewhere, and
Yeah.
whenever anybody moves too close, he just kind of just skirts around.
But Golfus, food, what are you doing?
Altus is gonna see what he can find just in the forest. See
Alrighty.
if he can hunt something down.
Yeah, roll a survival check. First, dropping my pen on the floor.
I'll keep an eye out over his shoulder, and if it looks like he's about to eat something really dangerous and stupid, I might stop him.
Okay.
I like the might.
Yeah, I'll say that it's relatively easy to find probably like mushrooms up against some drift not really driftwood, but like a fallen tree that's sort of rotted and has been infested by this mushroom. It looks edible. You're sort of stood there for a moment in that sort of does this make delicious food or is this poison? And then you're like, nah, this is good. So yeah, you grab a handful of mushrooms and you take those back to roast those over the fire. Alrighty.
Good deal.
So what are the rest of you doing? Angorr specifically?
Angorr sit by a fire and have a ration.
Alrighty. If I'm gonna, can I ask you guys to initiate conversation real quick? I need to step away, and I don't want to. I don't want to take us to a beer or back.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Alrighty.
The GM says roleplay amongst yourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I won't be like
I mean,
2 or 3 minutes.
don't forget. Okay, oh, okay. So, tell me, Angor, how was it you were raised?
Why are you asking?
Because your actions last night were kind of, well, they were very inappropriate.
Listen, don't know why Angorr went southern there. I did what I think was the right thing to do. And I go in there and I start seeing, I forget the types of magic it was, because it's been a long day, what with being potentially kidnapped now that I think about it earlier on. And then fighting a giant bird. And then walking today because we lost the horse. I would do what I did again.
You would break the trust of a
Of a hag. Yes.
no. It doesn't matter that they were a hag. We won. I believe we did actually pay them for the evening and feed for the horse. Not that the horse needed it for much longer.
That was a waste of money. Did we pay for food? I don't think we paid for food. I think we just
Negative.
paid
I
to keep the
tried.
horse.
They didn't take it.
But we were welcomed onto their land and welcomed into their dining hall. And you and Shade, wherever that shadow is lurking, broke
Want to
some
take a magic
very
and just see where
old
shade is.
I want to flick the back of his head.
broke some very old rules and traditions, ones that gods and men frown upon being broken.
Sorry about that. I had something in my eye.
Right.
Um,
Worst.
A nice way possible in my past, people who tend to invite you into places normally don't have good things in mind.
Just because the wolf invites the lamb in for dinner doesn't mean that the lamb needs to be cordial about it. And I stayed my blade. So you should be grateful and stay your lips.
What the invisible person said.
Yeah, I
Like the
say
thing
I
is
say this after having walked up behind him and flicked him on the back of the head.
And you should know far much better, Shade, I have accepted it
Mm.
from Angorr, as we have discovered that his upbringing had a lack of proper foundations. But
What's all that?
yourself, what was your excuse?
I told you there is no excuse. When the predator invites the prey in for dinner, there need be no acknowledgement of laws that exist amongst fellow kin. A hag is not a person, it's a monster. And they are not our friends, regardless how friendly they may act.
A hag is thinking and alive, intelligent and smart.
And they feed upon human misery. Whatever you may have learned in the Am realm, I assure you things here are a bit more dangerous and quite a bit less like a fairy tale.
Oh, I will find for you that the Underdark compares to this but oh, a
Wait,
playground?
hold on. I thought you were from the air elemental realm, not from the Underdark.
No, he was on the dark.
I am Underdark.
Wait, sorry, I'm forgetting my lore of this world.
Yeah, so just to explain, because I think you would have known this already. Whilst Akash is an Air Ganassi, and those of you that are familiar with Ganassi of different natures, they are descended from beings from the Air Realm. But Akash specifically is from the Underdark. There's an
Okay, yeah, that retort makes no sense then.
Alright. Juvit. I do have a quick question for Corpus, real quick though.
Yep.
What's your wisdom modifier? Just +1.
Wisdom is. Yep, +1.
Okay. Yeah, right. That makes sense for what I told you then. Okay, cool. Just wanted to figure out how much food you managed to scavenge up, and because you only got a +1, you've only got about 5 pounds of mushrooms.
That's still a lot of
I was
mushrooms.
supposed to say 5 pounds. Holy cow, that's a couple days worth at least.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you get the munchies, and then that's gone
I
pretty
didn't
quick.
mushrooms, mate.
No, the DC was way over what you needed, so I'm not going to say there. Hallucinogenic
There's
or
So we're not all getting high for a session.
yeah, you're fine.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh my god,
So the Satyr who are conversing with Shet quietly in the background are getting very distracted by this conversation. And just like, don't get involved. Just let's go back to what we're talking about. Those of you with passive perceptions above a 10 are probably hearing about the Satyr looking to get involved in the Bard College in Aasimar. And Shet's just like, I know the college, the college dean. I can get you in there. And they're
Does
just looking at
Akash
him
think it's a good college?
incredulously. It's certainly prestigious. Whether or not you consider it a good college, possibly not. It's a college, which means it's probably a bit more stuffy than you're used to.
This sounds like a shade question.
Yeah. If you roll me a history check, Shade.
Sure.
Yeah, like I said, it's prestigious. A lot of the more famous bards have come from Aasimar. What you do know is that it's pretty infamous for parties. Which, now that you're thinking on it, that one party that you had come across in Aasimar,
When I had that interesting interaction with someone dressed up
Yeah.
as a jester.
Mm-hmm. That was probably a college party.
Right. So I'm sorry, John. It sounds like they're having a separate conversation from us. Are they interested or disinterested in this conversation?
Every now and then they try and get a little bit uh uh, they try and get a little bit of a listening to your conversation, but for the most part they're maintaining theirs.
Got it. You know what I was when you joined up with me, Akash. I'm a monster hunter. That's a monster. That is the thing I hunt. You may disagree with me on ethics and religion and other various matters, but every instinct in my being said I should kill that thing. Out of respect for you, I stayed my hand. So do me a favor and stow it. I'm going to get some sleep. And he just literally vanishes into the darkness.
You do the Batman vanish.
Yep.
And just sort of
First try.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Even though obviously Akash cannot see shade, he's just going to say, Cask Bow, you should remember your roots before on certain aspects of life to come.
Right nicely, children.
You all get the sense this is not the first argument that has ended this way amongst these two, and they'll probably get over it, but they're probably going to banter back and forth a bit more yet.
Oh, I mean, at least, it's one of those ones, Corthus. I can expect it from Angorr. I should not have to expect it from him. You
Expect
are the
me.
funny one. A naval life as the tales can be kind of interesting on the simple matters of
Did Harrison just disappear for anyone else? I heard nothing for a
I
while.
think he pulled a shade.
Yeah.
um,
It got dark.
of the simple matters of hospitalities. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the sentence sounds incomplete to my ears. Maybe I'm missing something.
Possibly. Who's the sentence targeted at? Sorry.
It was to Corthus because Ankash was saying he can expect it from Angor because of the appearance Angor gives and the little bit of Angor's upbringing that he has now divulged. He should not have to expect it from Shade, and that Corthus is an odd one because his naval upbringing and the stories and rumors between naval people are interesting, especially when combined in the old laws and hosts of hospitalities.
And to be clear, the it you're referencing is the party's behavior at the hags.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay, gotcha. We all have our own way of dealing with things. You might not understand everyone's take on it. Personally, I've never met a hag before. But rumors and stories and legends exist for a reason. And as tempted as I was, those should be heeded. even if they give some the impression of being rude or disrespectful. In the end, it did not turn to violence. As much as you might despise the way he handled himself, I would say he acquitted himself admirably.
I don't know if the ability to stow one's blade is the same as the ability to words. I'm a man of words. So many in my head of different languages, and yet not one for this.
There is a sensation of silence falling from across the camp as Shet and his brothers have fallen silent as they've heard the word hag. And Shet's like, "Oh, to explain," and he gives them a quick, brief rundown as to what happened in the previous nights. And they sort of look at each other and they look at you, Akash, and they go, they were probably right to be that way. I mean, I don't know this hag, but if they're anything like the ones that we have back home, there could be trouble.
Do many of them invite you in, offer you hospitality, and then attack?
Sometimes.
Akash, might I remind you that to let us in, it never let us see what anything there actually was. The children had magic casted on them. The house had magic casted on them. The hag itself had magic casted on them. The donkey outside had magic casted on it. We never
Oh
saw
yes,
what
well that
anything
poor
there
fellow
was.
was just a fool.
The point being that nothing there is what it seemed. Sorry, John, what did you say?
That's how hags work. They'll invite you in, and they might poison you. They might. It really depends on if they thought what they could get from you is worth a fight, or if they thought they could get it another way. It's risky business. We know back home that hags can give you all sorts of powerful gifts, but there's always a cost, no matter how polite they are.
Sounds like a fair point.
Yes.
Blindly trusting can carry a cost that none of us are aware, and if we were, would be unwilling to pay. That man stayed his blade, and as he said, that is among the things that he hunts. That would not be unlike asking a paladin not to strike out against a demon. It goes against his very nature. But he did that for the sake of being civil. Perhaps we should acknowledge that.
Yes, well, maybe there's a long way for Shade to go before he is back to where he should be, too. Anyway, shall we have one more song and then dally the night away?
So yeah, as
Sounds fair.
the conversation dies down and you guys start playing once again, Shed'll move to start setting up the tent. If someone chooses to join him, he's more than happy to
I'll help Shet.
have someone join. But otherwise, the night draws to a close, Um, and then you guys settle in for the evening. In terms of the night watch, I'm assuming you're wanting to keep a watch. What is the order in which you're performing watch?
Cultists will take first watch.
Alrighty.
Angorr
We'll say
will se-
go
Angorr will go second.
on. Okay, so both first, Angorr, and who's taking third?
Hmm.
Shade will take whatever the last watch is, whether
Okay.
we're doing 3 watches or 4, but he's going to try and get the rest in first.
Alrighty.
I'll do the third watch then,
Alrighty.
and allow
Okay.
Shet to sleep off his brother's torment.
Yeah. Whilst the initial meeting between them was a little icy, they seem to have warmed a little bit to each other as Chet has sort of revealed himself to be not necessarily a man of standing in estimate, but able to put them in touch with the person that they're looking to get in contact with. So yeah, they'll probably spend a little bit later than you guys before going to bed themselves. So what we'll say is the first 3 people will have advantage on their perception checks, and Shade, you'll be on your own as 4th place.
Actually, one thing I would like to suggest is Cultist is going to try and take first and last watch.
Interesting.
And inform Shade to get a full night's sleep.
It could be done.
It's
up to you.
Because it's fun. Roll persuasion check.
Okay.
Interesting.
And hey John, what do you think? There's nothing like discipline to roll against, right?
There's it would be a charisma saving throw, but
With that roll, I doubt.
Don't
Well,
take this the wrong way.
We can try it. We'll
But
try.
I hope you roll like you normally do. Nope.
Nope, he's not having it. He's taking 4th watch.
Alrighty.
Very well.
Okay. Corfus, can you roll a perception check at advantage, please? Wait, hold on. Do you have dark vision? You don't, do you?
I do not.
Okay, so it'll be a straight roll. As darkness has fallen, and you don't see much beyond twilight. Okay. It's pretty quiet. You don't hear any sort of movement. Nothing intercedes into the camp. And you seem to be left alone for the evening. So you finish your rest. And you wake up Angorr, who's second. Angorr, you have advantage because you do have dark vision. Correct?
Yes.
Or
I believe
Aasimar, at
that.
least.
Yeah. Where does he start it again? Yeah.
Oh, I was looking at this last night.
Oh yeah, I have dark vision. I found
Yeah.
it.
Alrighty. Yeah. So roll perception check. With
Perception at advantage.
Yes. Yeah. With you as well. It appears nothing is coming close to the camp at all. You do spot one of Shet's brothers head off to bed during the night, during your watch, and as you're heading to bed, the second one also retires, leaving Shet to team up with Akash for his watch. Akash, do you have dark vision?
Akash and Shet Akash doesn't have dark vision, but he does have a spell which allows him to activate dark vision for like 3 times. But he doesn't want to use that. he also
Okay.
doesn't necessarily know he has that spell, but yeah,
So your
Um,
perception check would be a straight perception check.
straight perception check, Roger.
Okay.
Not the worst. Not the worst.
Yeah, it's a fairly quiet night. Yeah. Other than probably like maybe like a bat or two fly by, on the hunt for insects. You are left alone. Alrighty, so as the final watch occurs, Chet goes to bed. As does Akash, Shade.
Okay. I do have dark vision.
Yes, you do. Although at this point, it's really not darkness isn't an issue because
Pretty early morning. It's dawn.
sunlight is dawn is upon you and light is hitting the sort of it's not really a valley, like the side of the hills where you are.
So straight perception roll.
Straight perception. Alrighty. Yeah, it's silent out there. Well, I say silent. The sun is rising, so birds are awake and they're starting to chirp, and everything seems to be normal. So as the rest of the party wakes up, Shet can be seen giving a goodbye to his brothers as they start to make their way up to Aasimar. The rest of you pack up your camp, have some breakfast, and prepare to do the remaining leg of your journey. Is there anything
Can I
else
check
that you would like to do in the
Can I
morning?
just check my kit before we leave? Just make sure everything's still there.
Roll an investigation check.
I trust it was a good family reunion.
Nothing appears to be missing from your equipment.
Okay.
Or having been added, so it looks exactly the same. Shet sort of gives a nod to you, Corvus, as he's probably chomping on some ration that he has. He goes, could be worse. We didn't start headbutting each other, and that's sometimes what happens.
Was that figurative or literal?
Literal.
Shade asked while making his tent back up and preparing his pack.
Literal.
Shade just kind of shakes his head. Ow!
We're kind of built for it, and he sort of motions to the horns.
Makes sense.
While that is true, I still believe that no one wins in a headbutt.
You've never seen a Minotaur do it.
Corvus, roll me a history check, I guess. Yep, nope. You've never seen a Minotaur headbutt someone before.
While that is true, I still find it to be incredibly counterproductive.
Not to the Minotaur, it's not.
Yeah, I'll say you've heard stories about Minotaurs, and fairly sure you've been to places with Minotaurs. But where you're currently from, where you've currently been, yeah, Minotaurs are incredibly rare. So you've never seen one.
One sec.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, regardless, I'm glad it didn't come to blows.
Mhm.
Looking at And can I just take like a cursory inspection of the weather and,
Yeah.
knowing where we are, how long I think we have still to go?
You have maybe in the region of 5 to 6 hours, depending on your pace. It's not long. You'll get there about mid-afternoon.
And this is to get to the Amberhall.
Amberhall. Yeah.
Amberhall, and that's the mining village outside of Mun, right?
Yeah, it's literally right up against it. Right up against the petrification zone.
Well, if we make a good time this morning and the weather holds, we ought to be able to be at Amberhall by mid-afternoon, maybe a little earlier. Everyone up for a bit of a hike?
Should go well enough. But
Um,
yes, Minotaur or otherwise, I expect there are better ways to get ahead of the game.
Oh.
Yeah, so looking at the weather, it has become overcast. And whilst there are dark clouds here and there, it doesn't appear as though there's a chance of rain, at least not yet. Like it's just going to be an overcast day. So, after the camp is picked up, you guys set off on foot to make the remaining, let's say 20 miles, if that. Yeah. So eventually, on the horizon, you will see a small village of no more than 20 or 30 households. Most are sort of spread out across a road that diverts from the main coastal road that heads in towards the Dead City, which has now also become into view, spreading across the horizon to the south. Amberhall sits in the shadow of Mun. Beyond the village, there is an old fort, and within the fort, there is a manor house. And beyond the fort, you see several mines dug into the hills, with many paths cut into the hills, trailing up into the mountains and to the northeast. A handful of farms hug the city, riding the line between the petrification zone that you can see baked into everything beyond a certain point. From a further distance, you'd maybe mistake the terrain as being completely stone, but now you're so close, you see farmhouses, trees, grassy plains, signposts, bushes, and a whole host of other things completely and utterly petrified. Beyond that line, however, there is no life, there is no stubborn weeds that have crossed the line, and no animals are beyond it. The birds in the sky turn and avoid the line, and don't go anywhere near it at all. The sheep and cows that graze nearby don't step even remotely close to it, leaving a high, wild patch of fresh grass on the side of the field nearest the petrification. As you approach Amberhall, you see one decently sized tavern, a forge, scattered barracks, an airship landing field, and what looks like a makeshift cargo port. And as we move on to the next map, I'm going to check this real quick because I'm not entirely sure if I turn this off or not. Didn't. Oops, that would have been my bad. We wouldn't have seen anything. We jump to this map here.
Ooh, okay.
When it loads... okay. Hold on. That map wasn't loading for me. Oh, that might be why. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's why I was just off for some reason. In the middle of nowhere. Okay. I don't know why that was. Alrighty, so yeah, as you approach Amberhall, you see two older men sitting on a bench, and they wave at you in a friendly manner, and they go, come to visit our humble village, friends. as you're sort of approaching Amberhall itself. They're on the outside on a bench.
Indeed. It's good to see some friendly faces.
Ah, yes. What do you come here to do?
Well, for starters, a bit of rest wouldn't be unwelcome.
Oh, well, yeah, you can see it over there. There's the tavern. That's, well, it's humble. It's not. I don't think it's what you'd call comfortable, I suppose.
After the road we've been on, I'm certain it will suffice.
Don't listen to his voice. This man is used to shacking up on a swaying. What's swaying cabin with a
Ah.
bed strapped to a wall that goes upside down occasionally.
There is
Yes.
nothing wrong with sleeping on a boat.
That sounds really interesting. We've never done anything like that.
It certainly has its merit, although I will admit it takes some getting used to, and glance over at Akesh. Some people handle it better than others.
Hey, I just, levitated and tied myself to the wall so I didn't go anywhere.
You cheated.
I'm just imagining him levitating up in the air, and then the boat shifts and just smacks him in the face.
That is why I tied myself to the. Well, after the first night, I
Yeah.
tied myself to
Yeah.
the. In like a spider's web, so I couldn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty.
I
Yeah.
didn't cheat. I used my natural ability.
That's called cheating. You could have tried the hammock.
I mean, it was touching me.
They sort of look at each other and they go, we never got a hammock. Kept asking Dad to give us a hammock, and he never did.
I don't think they're hard to make.
Well, if we can find some spare canvas laying around, perhaps we can do something about that.
I mean, I
I'm
have
sure
heard that a adventuring parties walk past with a spare tent.
Gentlemen, business. Can you
Yeah,
folks direct us to the town, your town elder? We'd like to discuss.
They sort of look at each other and they go, well, we don't really have an elder, but we're the two oldest, I think, that live here. What do you need? We can help you.
Seriously, you're the two oldest. And how old are these kids?
They're old men.
Oh, old men. Sorry, the way you were describing it, I thought they were children.
You've heard. I was displaying them accurately, but they are old men.
Got it.
And they look probably in late 80s for humans.
Well, that's really impressive.
Yeah. Well, we're
Just like
here
young
on
for their
a
age.
bit of business, actually, and hoping to learn a little bit about the area. I've heard stirrings coming from the dead city.
Oh, yeah. That'll do it. Let's just introduce ourselves. I'm Durham, and this is Klein.
Durham, Klein. Around these parts, I'm known as Shade. These are my companions. Cultus, introduce yourself.
Curth the Swiftblade, former sailor.
Honored.
Likewise.
Angorr stick his hand out to both. Angorr.
Angorr, and how about you? Strange looking fellow.
Akash is what was their names again?
Durham and Klein.
He's just going to click his fingers, and well, I'm Durham. I'm Klein, and then click his fingers again and back to himself.
They'll clap quite well. They go, oh, awesome.
So, yep, Akash at your service. Performer, now magician, and a reasonable bladesmith, if I do say myself.
Don't pay the bard too much mind. He's mostly harmless, though be careful around the drink.
Oh, we don't do that anymore. That says we're not allowed.
Excuse me, what?
He said we
Don't
weren't allowed.
drink.
No. Of course not.
Well, no, go back to the part Dad says you're not allowed. He's still here.
Well, no, but we like following what he tells us.
Okay,
Fair
I'm
enough.
so I'm not totally crazy. I did hear them talking about their dad, and that's why I thought they were kids. Okay, can I I was confused as a player. I did
yeah.
not think about no. Shade should also be confused in this narrative. Can I make some sort of check to see what the heck's going on with these guys?
Yeah, roll an insight check.
Okay. Sorry, I did not pick up on that at 1st I'm like, wait a minute. No, I should be confused.
Yep.
Oh,
You're
of course.
And you're still confused.
They're probably weird old men. They might be
I
senile.
love your dice.
Oh.
Now, here's the question: does Akash care?
Probably not compared to the previous sessions.
Yeah, I'm
It's
going
up to you, though.
Akash doesn't really like. They're just a small human bunch of people living in a farmland.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you don't even bat an eyelid when the two of them start swinging their legs a little bit on the bench.
How long have you two been in Amberhall for?
Oh, well, we can't count, but long time.
What do you mean you can't count?
We can't
On
count. We don't never went to school.
And on an estimate, my friends, how small were you, just by hand size, when you first arrived?
Oh, we were born here, born and raised. On one of the farms back there, and they point to the farms across Amberhall.
So, before these guys badger you with too many more questions.
Oh, we can answer questions.
Yeah, but there's this like nice line between all of the grass and everything living, and then that stone from the city and then.
Yeah.
Does anybody cross it? I mean, it doesn't even look like the birds like to go around it.
Well, you know how Dad tells us not to drink, or told us not to drink. He also told us not to go over the boundary, and we may have done it a couple of times, just exploring.
And where is your dad?
Well, he's at the farm.
What's
Can
your dad
you
called?
show us?
Oh, we don't walk so good anymore, but you should be able to find any sort of points
Can I
in a
cast
really
detect
vague
magic?
direction. Yeah, roll
Can I
detect
cast
magic.
detect magic whilst I'm just looking at these two?
Yeah.
Do I need to roll for that?
No, I don't think so.
Do I see anything? Oh, perception check, do you say?
No,
You
you
gotta
don't.
put
No, you
your
don't need to.
Sunglasses on first.
Other than the magic items that you have in your possession, these people aren't magical. They appear to be completely mundane. But there's no glow from them whatsoever.
It's a question.
Uh-huh.
Did you run into anything when you crossed the border?
I mean, it was a very long time ago now. But we were back in our youth. We were sure that the statues were moving too.
How long ago was your youth?
I can't count. Long time ago. Years and years, I think, by what people tell us.
So no run-ins with any wraith-like ghosts that scream at you and you aged, no?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Has anything ever
That-
screamed at you and you
that's-
get older?
Let's leave
Huh?
these two dear old souls and perhaps go talk to their father.
Oh, sure. Do you need directions?
I
course.
did just ask for them.
And that because they sort of once again point in a vague direction over at the farms, but from this distance,
Great
it's
directions.
really unclear.
Are we really expecting their father to talk?
Thank you, gentlemen. I suggest I first stop at a tavern, get a bit of rest, and we'll figure out our next move.
I
Is
will
anybody-
wish you well.
Is there anybody else in the street?
And you, gentlemen.
The bench is a little ways. It's not like significantly out of the street. Sorry, out of the village, but it is a bit away. Where you guys currently are, there are no other people, but you can see what look to be like miners moving between the barracks areas and the tavern, filing in for probably what's going to be like a late lunch before shift.
Okay.
Do they look really ancient as well?
No, they look just like that, normal people.
Okay. So just two kooky old dudes, right?
Yeah, as far as you know.
Well, that was bizarre. To the tavern? Or do we go talk to Dad? And he kind of air quotes that last bit.
Well, here's a question for you, Shade. How many folks do you think reach the ripe old age of a century?
In my experience, very, very few. But those two don't seem like they're entirely sane.
I'm curious about
Do
talking to. I'm curious about talking to the father.
They certainly are older than most, and I wouldn't mind checking out the farm. That being said, we've been walking quite long enough. Tavern
On
first.
this point, Cultus, we agree.
Alrighty. So leaving behind the kooky old man, you guys head into Amberhall and you see a general goods store across from the inn that's named the Aldeborough Inn. That's an A, not an E. There's a whole bunch of people inside. All of them are dressed either in clean work clothes or dusty work clothes, having just ended their shifts, or probably ended their shifts hours ago and are still here. So yeah, you guys head into the Aldeborough Inn.
That's where Cultus is going.
Okay.
Sure.
Akash?
I mean, there's no reason why I'm him not to go with them.
Okay. And Shade.
Yep, headed that way.
Alright.
Although just wanting to have a look about the town as we're walking in, just the general reception of the welcome committee of two very, very old men speaking and acting as though they were very, very young has put him a little off balance. Like just looking around trying to figure out if there's any sense to be made here.
It appears to be a normal village. Most people are moving about, minding their own business, relatively ignoring you. You might get a swift nod of the head as someone passes by, and like a quick good day, and then they go about their business. But most people are, maintaining their distance.
And no one seems entirely put off by four people like this has the vibe of a very, very small town, and we obviously don't belong.
Yeah, but you get the feeling that they're kind of used to people moving straight through Amberhall and not staying very long.
Got it. So we
Um,
probably won't draw attention until we've been there for more than a couple hours.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Okay, so you enter the Eldeborough Inn, and it has a homely vibe. It's not lively like the inns in Estimate or some of the bigger settlements. It's more. This is the only inn in the village, and every single person comes here at some point. So there's like a constant presence of people in this place. Looking at the prices on the boards, although you get the feeling that most people here live here for a long, long time, so they probably know the prices anyway. But the prices up on the board are incredibly cheap. You see 2 silver for 1 room, bedding 1 person, and then 3 to 4 copper for items of food and drink, regardless of what they are. And yeah, you see a whole bunch of miners who are mid conversation. There's some that keeping to themselves, tired and a bit groggy from either just waking up or just the exhaustion of the day. Yeah, it's a relatively quiet atmosphere. What would you like to do?
Cultus is going to head up to the bar,
Mhm.
make arrangements for number 1, food, number 2, rooms. 1
Yeah.
for each in the party, so should be 5.
Easily enough done. Yeah, really easy.
I
Easy
forget.
done.
I forget. Have we been paid any? Have we made any money at this point?
You've
on
got
our journey?
gems.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got gems. Gems that you got from the wreckage, and you've got the Vault of Knowledge card that gives you 5 gold coins worth food or travel. Food, water, or travel. But yeah,
And
no,
we have
no payment.
our vouchers of a sort.
Yeah. And I'll say with 5 gold coins, you can pay for everybody's rooms and have a decent amount of food and drink.
Perfect.
Yeah. So you get it all brought to you. I assume you take like a proper table. Oh dear.
Yeah, I think we get a table someplace, and Shade is just like listening, as much as possible.
All right.
Again, very off put by the first conversation. Is just trying to feel like is something weird going on here, or was it just 2 old weird guys? He's trying to put it out of his mind, so he's hoping just to hear normal idle bar conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Roll a perception check as you're paying specific attention. Okay. You hear multiple conversations talking about creatures called mephits that live in the mine, and you hear like one person go, "I don't know what's up with them lately. They've gotten into a right mood." Another one goes, "They keep talking about a creature in the lower levels, mephits, mephit."
Okay.
Yeah. And another one will go, "They keep talking about some creature in the lower levels taking out their hives. I don't know. Probably paranoid. They've probably just flitted off somewhere."
What would be the passive perception to hear this?
I mean, they're not being quiet about it. You probably would have picked up on maybe a couple of words going by, so If you've got a passive perception of above 10, you probably would have heard the word mephit in creature at some point.
Does Akash, obviously being raised underground, know anything about them?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Akash definitely knows about mephits. Mephits are small imp-like elemental creatures that are pests beyond all measure amongst the Underdark. They don't
So-
like Ganassi whatsoever because it's
Oh, do they not?
yeah, there's a bit of like, oh, the Ganassi are hoity-toity tall folk who are being mean to us, little creatures, little defenseless, poor little mephit creatures. But yeah, mephits can be trouble. You probably would know like a mage or two that has a mephit as a familiar back home. And they come in various different elements, but most of them are quasi mergers of elements. So there'll be like a magma mephit, a steam mephit, a dust mephit, a smoke mephit. Yeah, they can talk. They are intelligent. But they love chaos even more than Akash.
See, what you're saying is Akash might have had a couple of these as friends.
It's possible, but generally speaking, they don't like Ganassi. Generally speaking. It's not to say that it's impossible. You might have had one or two of these as friends, but yeah, generally speaking, they have prejudice against Ganassi.
Okay, so would it be like maybe a history check of his to know if what sort of things like to attack their nests and stuff?
It would be.
They're treated as pests. That might be a long list.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a history or arcana check, I suppose.
Let's just
Yeah.
have a look at what's better.
Like they don't cause particular harm because they're not that impressive. But they do sort of make messes. Oh, okay.
I think he's got it.
Yeah. Like everything in the Underdark is far more hostile and violent than any mephits. Mephits do hijinks. But otherwise they tend to keep to themselves. So it could damn near be any sort of Underdark threat that you can imagine. It could be a giant spider, it could be a purple worm, it could be an eldritch abomination from the lower dark. It could be just damn near anything. You wouldn't be able to.
Could it
narrow
be
it
the
down.
local tribe of Ganassi getting really sick of the annoying pests?
It could be. It could be. Or any Ganassi, because most Ganassi live in like. I don't know if Akash would have mentioned this, but Ganassi, when in Underdark, they tend to live around pockets of elemental power. So Akash's people live like in a on an upside down city, surrounded by a strong air current that runs throughout the Underdark. Fire Ganassi might live like in an underground volcano or around it. Water Ganassi might just live just up in the ocean. So on and so forth. Yeah. So, yeah, Akash, you know all about mephits and what might be hunting them, which is a lot. So, without further information, you just don't know.
Okay. So I'll be like humming and narring about that, and then I'll just be looking over to the guys and go. So, are we trying to be subtle with us gathering information on Mun, or are we being my way?
In my experience, Akash, you're always your way.
Thank you. And he'll just stand up and he'll walk over to the closest group of miners.
Easily done.
Okay.
Goldfish
And now-
just shaking his head and smirking.
This could either be really funny or really, really funny.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he's going to sit down, like literally just barge on in them, on the closest ones that are talking about the Mifits. And he's going to go, okay, so Mifits being a problem, they've got a problem. So tell me, is there any of these things, these things, these things, these things? Have you noticed any of the claw marks instead of gouge marks from your pickaxes? And he's just literally naming off things that might possibly be telltale signs of something there.
You sort of rattle off a whole bunch of different things, and there's like a glazed overlook from basically all of the miners, including the one that was taking a sip as you had started talking, and he had moved his mouth away from the mug as he was about to respond, and the beer just goes all over his shirt and down the front, without him really paying much attention because he's just so distracted by you. Angelic goes, "Oh, bugger," and then just sort of gets up and starts like wiping himself down, and the others go, well, no, the methods tend to keep most of the bigger threats out of the mines. That's why we keep them around. That, and there's like thousands of them.
And it's not you guys upsetting them?
No, why would we?
I mean, I know they can be annoying sometimes. I find them hilarious.
Well, yeah, they can be, but if you ignore them, they tend to get bored and flutter off to annoy someone else.
Yeah, true. And there are none of these telltale signs of them being there.
No, I mean we don't. Okay, so I don't know who you are, but this is sort of how it works. We dig a tunnel and we extract the ore, right? Then we go away and we find a new bit of ore and we mine that. By the time we've come back to the first bit of excavation, the methods have bloody moved in and set up their nests. And we just work around them.
Okay. So, how long ago did they move into a previously excavated section? And what did you find other than your ore there?
How long has it been since morning? That long.
And their nests have already been destroyed since then in that area.
Destroyed? Well, no. Then we don't check the nests. We'd have to ask the methods.
Okay. So I might do that. But first, I've got other questions.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So these questions are quite simple. They are about the big stone area that you guys have been living next to for quite some time.
Oh, okay, one of those. Alright.
Okay. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary? Do you know anybody that likes to go over the boundary line often?
Have you been talking to Doran and Klein?
I believe they're on the way in, but not much. Only just a little bit.
Oh, because they don't stop talking about it if you let them.
Yeah, I know, but I'm asking other people. Making sure that their facts are facts.
Well, we spend all our day in the mine, so we don't see anything. And when we're out the mine, we're here. And when we're not here, we're sleeping.
So, do you know anybody that goes across the line often?
Darn
Have you ever-
incline.
Doran and Klein. Have you ever heard of, I don't know, the things over there moving when they're not meant to be?
Yeah, from Darn incline.
Doran and Klein. Everything we need to know is going to be from Doran and Klein.
Pretty much.
Okay. So now I'm going to stand up. I'm going to bid you farewell. I may buy you all a drink, but the next person you wish to talk to is you see that.
They hold up their hands as you're doing this. And they go, look, dude. Whatever you're about, no thanks. They're just like, this guy's weird, isn't he? And they go back to the conversation.
Yeah, okay. So I'll allow the methods to be your problem then. Bye-bye.
But they sort of blink a little bit and they go, what?
Oh, yeah, like we could go and sort out the issue there, so the methods aren't annoying you as much, or
I mean, whatever you do, they're gonna complain and annoy us anyway, so nothing changes for us.
get back to me when whatever's eaten their nests eats one of you. Bye-bye.
And they just sort of shake their head and they go back to their conversation. What about the rest of you? As this display is happening, what the rest of you doing?
Angor's going to go up to the counter and talk to the bar person, whoever's there.
There's like a half-elven barmaid who's probably like... It's a bit tricky to tell with half-elves because sometimes they age like humans, sometimes they don't. But you would guess that this would be... this lady would be comparably in her 40s.
Okay.
If she was human.
Okay. Can I just check? From my knowledge, this is the closest down to Mun, right? I'm not asking her that. I'm asking you that, John.
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
this is... well, at least the closest inhabited town, it's within 8 miles, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go... give another head. Evening. Is it evening?
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Yeah.
I was wondering, would you be able to help me? I have some questions.
Sure. What? And
take
she's
a
sort of
sip.
distracted by the conversation that's being happening with Akash. And she gives you a shake of the head, and she goes, "Okay, what's your question?"
I have a few. First off, do you know? I'm looking for someone. They said that I was told that they were in Mun, but that's obviously impossible. Do you know? Is there
Probably.
anyone called? Is there anyone called Alma in this town?
No, don't think so. I know pretty much everybody here, and no one called Alma.
No one. Okay.
I mean, we get travelers here and there, but I don't.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't always catch their names.
Okay. What's the deal with Doran and Klein?
Oh, Ben's kids.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they're a bit rascally, but nothing toward.
How old are they, out of curiosity?
Well, they're twins, so 6, 7.
Okay. Last time you saw them, what did they look like?
Oh, human kids.
No, like size-wise, tall, short, look like kids, look like old men.
She's just sort of blinking a little bit. She goes, What are you? What?
Okay, that's fine. I've got all the answers I need.
Uh-huh.
I'll leave to it, and I'll throw like some coin for like
Yeah,
thanks for the help.
she looks at you like, I'll take it, but okay.
All the answers and all the alcohol you need.
Yeah, I'll come back. I'll come back
Uh-huh.
down, sit at the table beside Sculpus and Shades to be like, door incliner 6.
Sorry, what?
Door incliner 6.
How? What?
Are we talking 6 Elvish?
I don't know. I asked. No, human. She said human.
Yeah, human kids.
Ben, apparently the dad's called Ben. They're Ben's kids, is what I was told. And I asked, what did they look like last time you saw them? She said kids. This could be recent.
Okay.
So they're not actually crazy old men.
I'm just saying, last time we saw something like this happen.
There was a
Yeah.
very tight cause to it.
Yeah, nope. Definitely remember. And we are next to a city of dead, also blighted by the gods. So yeah, yep, lots of nasty flashbacks.
Oh, so I should probably mention at this point, I wasn't so forthcoming about the dream I had, or trip to the moon I had. He says it's a little bit lower.
Alright, I suppose this is the part where we put our collective heads together. Has anyone heard any stories about things like this? People
I
have been
was
older than they
told.
should be.
I just want to say I was told by someone that there's someone in Mun called Alma, and I need to get a message to them.
I'm sorry, someone in Mun.
Someone in Mun. All I know is they're celestial.
Okay.
Roll an intelligence check for me, please. Angorr?
Me?
Yeah.
Me? Okay. Disadvantage or anything?
No, just straight.
That's investigation. Ignore me. I'm being straight.
What do you have proficiency in it? Because it might be the same regardless.
I get +3 in that, but I get +1 in intelligence.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Oh.
No, that's fine. We'll take this. You were told
Sure,
something
take
else.
intelligence.
You were told something else. There is something else that you know that's coming to mind now.
Celestial.
You
Name's
were
Alma.
Lamassu?
They're Lamassu. They're
Yeah.
Lamassu?
Yeah.
I don't remember what was said. I wrote down my notes quickly.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry, are they part of the Lamassu or are they Lamassu?
You were told that you need to find the Lamassu Alma. You don't know what a Lamassu is, probably. If you roll me an Arcana check, you might.
I was just about to ask, does anything that he is describing make any sort of
No,
sense
you've
to
got
us?
no idea.
I'll say the words Lamassu. I need to find the Lamassu Eldar?
Alma. A-L-M-A.
Okay, I need to find the Lamassu Elma.
Those of you that are at the table, so that would be Colfus and Shade. If you can roll me an Arcana check, please. Arcana or Religion, if it matters. Oh, wow, okay.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Colfus. Yeah, I'll say, give me a second, I need to check my map real quick. In your journeys to the far west, when the map loads, you probably would have come to dock up at somewhere in Estonia. We'll say Agra, which is the capital. Probably just for a flying visit. But one of the things that's in Agra is this massive statue of the city's guardian, like a guardian creature. From what you remember, it was said that the Lamassu is what the creature was. It's kind of like a sphinx, except they have beards and look more like men in the face. One of these statues was there, kind of like the Sphinx in Egypt. And they are guardians of cities, protectors, assigned by the gods in like holy places. Seemingly, Angorr has been tasked with finding one.
All right. So yeah, kind of straighten up in his seat a little bit. Well, there's been nothing like that around here, but sailing to the west, I remember seeing something about that.
So you don't think there might be one in Mun?
Oh, there certainly could be. I mean, a lot of them have a religious reason for being there, assigned by the gods, things like that. In a place that was judged by the gods.
I'm wondering
makes
how
sense.
that works. Like
I-
Mun was been like so what happened to Castellan happened very recently, but Mun's been this way for what, like 2 or 3 decades now, right?
No, centuries. 300,
Cent-
400 years maybe.
Centuries, not decades.
Yeah.
Okay, this has been a long time. Like,
Yeah.
why would this guardian still be here?
That's why I was confused, because I was told to tell is Alma the god? Oh right, Alma. Yeah, okay. I was told to leave before things happen.
And this guardian would still exist in Mun and not necessarily in a town like Amberhall?
I have
Question
no
mark?
idea. I have no idea. I was given the information and then I was thoroughly kicked out.
Right. So you got called to the moon to
Called-
warn a being protector of a city that's been dead for 300 years. Wow. And I'm trying to come up with an argument why this isn't all possible, but I'm being hunted by an army of the damned because I escaped a city that was judged by the gods, so maybe I should just shut up.
Let's be honest, there's a good chance that my food's been spiked at some point and perhaps it was all an hallucination.
Not by me.
You're not here. Shush.
I really
Did you have any of Cultus's mushrooms last night?
This was before he found the mushrooms.
The mushrooms are fine, thank you.
This was
And-
before he found the mushrooms. No, I would
Just
tell you what
calling
I
it wishful
spoke to.
thinking, then.
No, I would tell you what I spoke to, and then you really would think I had some of the mushrooms.
Well, now you have to tell me.
Oh,
I think it's safe to say that anyone here, any locals, are going to have more knowledge than we currently have. Seriously doubt there's a library, but it's worth looking into. There's got to be some
Perhaps.
kind of documented history here somewhere that we can get some information from.
Yeah. Having looked around, probably not. Like the closest that would be like actual documented history might be at the Lord's Manor, but almost certainly will be at Amberhall Mine. This is an actual business.
I'm getting the sense that most of these town folks try to ignore that Mun exists, minus the 2 6-year-old question mark that we met this morning.
6 or 7. Which means that's recent, by the way, I'm just pointing out.
Uh-huh.
We might want to find their father.
Suppose one question might be, when is the last time anyone saw them?
Did she say the last time she saw them? Did I ask that?
You did ask that, but probably quite recently.
You may want to find her father.
Based on what she had said.
I think maybe that's a good plan, and maybe we stop whatever's happening, and Shade just kind of gestures towards Akash's direction over there. I can't tell if they're terrified or annoyed.
By the looks of it, probably a little bit in between.
Both.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So as Akash comes walking back, having had his conversation, what do you guys do?
Apparently there are mysteries abound here.
6-year-olds who look like they're 80, and nobody wants to even remotely discuss the giant looming city of stone next to them.
Was anyone else around us, like in visual, while we were talking to the two kids, quote unquote?
I mean, maybe in terms of sheer line of sight, probably someone in the town might have been like sat on a porch chair, maybe. But no one close enough to really pick up attention.
Okay.
Like they wouldn't have had been able to hear what you had said, for instance.
Okay. But like nobody that was just walking by happened to see them and could potentially realize that these two are not who they seem to be.
No, the bench is a little bit away from the town.
Okay.
Hey, John, do
Uh-huh.
I correctly recall when we were speaking to Dorn and Klein
Mm-hmm.
that they said because I asked them for the town elder, and they said
Yeah.
they were the oldest ones around.
Yeah, that's what they
Do I
said.
recall that?
Yeah.
So they knew they looked old.
Yeah.
Huh. I think we really ought to go pay the twins' father a visit. Something is amiss.
Great.
Okay. How are you going to do that?
I think before trusting to the directions of two slightly delirious ancient and or very young men, that I shall go to I don't know who looks like the most, having listened to everything that's happening in this bar. If I were to try and find a local farmer who looks like the most inclined to have had dealings with the farmer, the miners don't seem like they're all that helpful. Maybe the barkeep. Is there anybody else in here who looks like they deal with agriculture?
No. Everybody in here is pretty much a miner.
Right, the
Right, you
barkeep
can go.
then.
The barkeep, yeah.
Oh,
It's
damn.
probably it.
Let's go ask the miners. Go ask the miners.
I mean, you could.
That can't possibly go
This
wrong.
this is a really small village. Chances are everybody knows everybody here. Like it really isn't a big enough place that the industries would be completely and utterly separate, regardless of whether they actually have business ties.
I don't think the barkeep suffered enough yet. Let's ask the barkeep.
Okay. So she's sort of.
It's your choice, Shade, though. It's your choice over.
Oh, okay.
Just apologies, looking for direction. I ran into two young miscreants on the way into town. Was hoping to get in touch with their parents. They vaguely motioned towards a farm. I assume they're one of the local farmers' kids.
Oh, okay. You want to be looking for a Lillian farm.
I'm afraid I'm a little bit new in town. Could you point out for me where that is? Or
Uh-huh.
at least give me some directions.
Easily enough done. If you go down further down south towards the Lord's Manor, there's like a little sign that says, Lillian Farm.
Excellent, thank you.
Yes, it's not it's not the first road, it's the second one.
Much appreciated, and I will motion to my companions. Let's go.
And before you go, she goes, "They're not in trouble, are they?"
I doubt they're much more danger to anyone but themselves, but it would be best to make sure they made it home all right.
Okay, I'll probably send someone out looking for him.
Uh, fair warning, they looked, as if they might have been getting into a bit of trouble. They may try to, hide from anyone they know. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, and she sort of calls over to like a gruff-looking half-orc. And she goes, "Oi, you! Go find the kids." And the half-orc just sort of grunts a little bit and goes, "Why do I have to look after the kids?" And just sort of kicks open the door as he heads out. And storms off down the road.
All right. Assuming he's going back the way we came, I recommend we proceed towards the farm. Lilith Farm?
Lillian Farm.
Lillian Farm.
Yeah.
And it's the second road south on the road towards the Lord's Hall.
Yeah, there's a big sign. The sign, you can't miss it.
If John ever names anything Lilith, I am not going there.
I mean, I've already done it. You've already come across the reference there. So yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Alrighty, so you filter out of the tavern and you start walking down the road. Alright, is there anything that you want to do along the way? As you're leaving?
As we're kind of leaving town, I want to try and take in whatever sights can be seen of Mun from here.
Yeah, so roll a perception check.
Sure.
Natural 20, wow.
Nice.
Okay, so it's still pretty difficult for you to get like a proper good look because you're still, eight or so miles. 2 miles to the boundary line, and then another 5 or 6 miles from the petrification line to the city itself. You notice that you can see figures standing in the field as if they're tending them, holding like a scythe to cut down the grass. That looks like a really expensive scarecrow. Beyond that, you see towering wizard towers and domed buildings and massive complexes. You see like a handful of carriages and horses petrified to the road that you had departed out previously. There's no lights to speak of, and it is now that you're realizing how dark it is outside. It's not because the sun's gone down, but the dark grey clouds have gotten thicker in nature. It looks like there might be a storm on, but you're noticing now that you're in sort of dim light, very occasionally, shade, you will disappear as you're sort of wandering down the road.
Question. Given it's been, you said, 2 or 3 decades, do these
Hold on. 2 or 3 decades since when?
since Mun was petrified?
It's more like 3 or 4 centuries.
So, good grief, I keep messing that up. I keep saying
No,
decades and centuries. Okay, 300-400 years.
Yeah.
How weathered do these petrified people standing in the field, like the closest of them? You said I could still see the side. That seems
Scythe, yeah.
remarkably preserved.
Yeah, they look as if they've been almost frozen in time in a fashion.
Anyone else find that a bit unnatural? It's been, what, 300-400 years? And I can still see nearly every detail. No
Unnatural.
weather, no erosion.
Unnatural as in the perfectly formed statues, or the fact that the entire area has been turned to stone?
Those aren't statues. The city was petrified. Those are its inhabitants. But why haven't they worn? Time should have affected the blades of grass, the trees, all of that fragile stone. It should have shattered hundreds of years ago. How?
Who are we
Heck,
to say what magic can and cannot do?
I was going to say magic, the will of a god.
It should be noted now that you're thinking about it. It's incredibly difficult to destroy objects of magical nature.
Though
Y-
time consumes all things.
You would assume, but powerful magic items don't rust, they don't degrade. They're as good as they are today as they were when they were made. It's what makes magical items so dangerous is because they aren't beholden to time. It might be the assumption might be made that all things decay in time, but magic items don't seem to obey those laws, generally speaking, at least in your experience. But you are human, so your perspective might be different to, say, an elf who can live for hundreds of, maybe even thousands of years.
I guess my point is that most spells fade, even if their consequences don't. If you were to turn an object to stone, that stone would weather as any other. Whatever did that, that is terrifying.
It could well be that magic wielded by people like us fades over time. I suspect that magic employed by the gods follows a different set of rules.
Not a comforting thought.
Indeed.
With your massive perception roll, as you're sort of staring off into the city of Mun, out of the corner of your eye, you will see the half-orc heading down the roads, and you can hear him sort of shout, "Oi, kids, get in here! Where are you? Are you hiding?" And he's just sort of checking behind bushes and stuff like that. Ahead of him, you see the two old men sitting on the bench, but they do not appear to be moving.
Coulter's just going to hold up. Keep an eye on that for a second. Not moving as in just still, or...
Yeah, well, if you want to roll me a perception check.
Sure.
Yeah, I think technically Shade's the only one that's seen that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then
Yeah, just roll a perception check. If you meet the DC, you can... Because you might just by instinct just look over as you're hearing the orc shout. Yeah, looking, you're just seeing the two men sat on the bench, not moving. And when I say not moving, I'm talking literally. They're not moving at all.
is anyone else noticing that? Our two friends there?
That is disturbing. Chet, could you run to the farm and gather the parents quickly? I think we might need to head back and see Dorian and Klein.
Before
Check
we panic
out.
the parents.
What?
I said before we panic the parents, let's take a look ourselves.
What we're doing? Are we going to the... So it looks between you.
All right, hang with us one. Angorr,
Yeah.
how prepped are you today for treating magical ailments?
Oh, that's above my pay grade. Hang on.
I was afraid that might be the case.
Hang on, wait, hang on. No, I can't deal with petrification.
Okay.
I deal with blinded, deaf, and paralyzed or poisoned.
Yeah, no, petrification is greater restoration, I'm afraid.
Although I doubt we're dealing with petrification just yet. They were being aged, so.
Also greater restoration.
Yeah, same end
Um,
result.
yeah.
All right.
Maybe we can touch the poisonous bush.
Okay, so you're heading to.
Back to where
Climb?
the old men / kids were.
Okay. So you do like a light jog up the roads, passing the half-orcers, checking behind, discarded crates in barrels and stuff like that. Is that kids? Kids, where are you? Get out of here. Just sort of wandering off. You guys pass him relatively easily. And
can Akash grab him and bring him along?
if you want to. You want to?
Yeah, he's just going to whistle and like wave. It's like, this way.
Oh, you've seen him? Yeah, let's go.
So yeah, I guess we'll walk up to the two old men.
Uh-huh.
Going, fine.
As you get probably within 60 to 70 feet, maybe, they appear to be just not moving. Both of them have their eyes closed and are sort of leaned together on the bench. Look like they might be sleeping. You'd have to get closer.
Okay, I will get closer.
Alrighty. Nothing intercedes. You quickly get over and you check them over. Roll medicine check for me, please. Okay. They're dead. Very much dead.
What?
It probably happened maybe 40 odd minutes, like not long after you had left. They don't have any injuries to speak of, but they are cold to the touch.
Like, spare the dying's not going to help them.
But they've been dead a while.
Okay.
Yeah, spare the dying is like, I think it's a dying creature and they're dead.
Yeah. That's a lot of creature that has 0 hit points.
Yeah. Yeah, they just sort of sat there, leaned against each other, with their eyes closed. If you had to guess, natural causes is almost certainly what killed them.
John,
Huh?
would this is off game because I know.
Go ahead.
Because I obviously previously I've done this game, I know nothing about D&D or D&D enemies or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Would Akash have heard of anything that absorbs basically the life essence out of people?
Roll an
Like
Arcana
this?
check. I will say that they don't look any older than they did previously.
Nope.
Right?
Nope. No.
Exactly. I mean, there's an awful lot that can do it. You've already experienced one of them, which is ghosts. Another one is vampires. Although those are usually far more violent in nature. But there's any number of different creatures that could eat life force itself. You aren't. There doesn't seem to be any real evidence of, oh, this is most definitely a demon. There's, sulfur everywhere. You've got no idea.
Anything that would tie on with the method problem?
No. I mean, according to Shade's medicine, they died of natural causes. Angor, you had wanted to pose a question, I think.
I was wondering, would Angor know of any creatures in this area of the continent that could do this? I don't think he would.
If you wanna roll an Arcana check, you can roll an Arcana check.
Cultist is gonna look toward the orc. Just
Nah.
you were looking for Dorn and Klein, right?
Oh yeah. Why you? Oh, that don't look too good.
These two claimed to us as we were entering town to be Dorn and Klein. I suggest their parents be found as quickly and as quietly as possible.
I mean, Ben had told him not to keep telling people that. These two men rolled into town like a few years ago, and they claimed to be the two boys, and Ben sort of pushed them away and sent them off, and they've been hanging around ever since. I don't think anyone's gonna realize. Sorry, no one's gonna really miss them. I'm afraid.
Wait, when was the last time you saw the two boys?
The kids?
Yeah.
Early this morning.
So these two aren't Dorn and Klein.
They're
John,
like 80-year-olds. Well,
John,
I guess. Uh-huh.
John, I'm going to ask you a really weird OC question.
Uh-huh.
What year would it be in game?
A year?
It's like, assuming that you have years or like dates.
I mean, I don't have specifically set up, but it would probably be like the third year of the King's Reign or something like that.
Okay. I want to ask this person.
Name
then,
escapes me
might
real quick.
might.
What's your question?
I want to ask this person something to like try and find out if time's moving slower here
Uh-huh.
or faster here.
Sure.
I don't know how to word it since there's no year. I'd pretty much just be asking what year does he think it is.
Hold on, just checking. Do I know it? Okay, I'm not gonna rush through all of my notes. Okay, so, confirmation. Sorry. I just checked my notes. It's been 150 years since Mun had been.
Okay, so not 300 or
Petrified.
400. It's
Yeah.
150.
150. Yeah, I just checked.
Okay.
But I will say that once you ask him, he does seem to know what time it is,
Okay.
or what year it is, I should say.
I think we'd find these kids.
So
now I'm
yeah.
confused.
So we have two old men pretending to be people they weren't.
Well, yeah. Halfwot just sort of looks them over and goes, "Don't really have any priests either." Yes, that's going to be up to. I'll go and talk to the Lord. See if we can arrange something.
Do these old men have pouches or anything on them? Like, would there be any way to find some form of ID on them?
Yeah, roll an investigation check.
Okay.
I mean, looking them over, you find like a handful of coppers, maybe like bits and pieces, but really nothing that would identify them as people. You do know, you can tell that they definitely are twins, though. You're giving them proper look; they do look identical.
What color? Whilst they were alive, would I remember what color their eyes were?
Yeah, probably like blue, maybe.
Blue. Okay, that's
Yeah.
I need to find the check-in on the farm
Mhm.
shade.
I
Indeed.
agree. This is very confusing, and I would like to speak to the farmer who told them to stay away. I don't understand what's happening here, but I don't think we're going to get any more answers from these two.
So just check with the orc again for a moment.
Mhm.
So just to be clear, Ben told the old men to stay away.
Yeah.
Torin and Klein are Ben's children?
Yeah. That's right.
Alright. Well then, let's swing by the farm and hopefully they're there.
Goes a slight nod and goes, yeah, phew. So the Lord can arrange some sort of, I don't know, some sort of service maybe?
That would be good of him.
Well, thanks for helping look for the kids, I guess. And he'll
Thank you for
start
helping
heading
us
back
find some
down the
answers.
road. He gives you a nod. Start heading back. This time, not really looking for the kids, just going straight to the manor instead. He's not running, so you could probably keep up with him on the journey down the road.
Alright.
Assuming he leaves right away. Yeah.
Probably set someone to stay with these two.
Shet sort of holds up his hand and goes, do you want me to?
Yeah, and Shet,
Uh-huh.
this would be a good time to employ your drawing skills. A likeness of these two, I think, might be helpful.
Okay, they look kind of sweet, maybe?
Peaceful, resting.
Yeah, looking at them, they don't seem to be shocked by what has happened to them. They look, yeah, literally at peace. So you see him take out his stool and he just sort of sits down across the road from them and angles himself to the point where he doesn't have Mun in the background. But he has like, the sea in the fields behind them, and he sits down to draw. The rest of you, I imagine, start heading back down.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So yeah, it's it's about a mile and a little bit down the road. So, actually, about 3 miles around. So you guys, spend the next hour heading down the road. If you have any questions for the half orc, you'll answer them. But otherwise, he'll leave you at the signpost to Lillian Farm as he goes to the manor.
Alright. Yeah, not much, just like goings on around town, stuff like that.
Alrighty.
Do
Yeah.
the
So
boys, do the actual kids have a tendency to go across that line?
yeah, much to the chagrin of Ben.
Okay.
Is there any, whether it be local folklore, whether it be a command from the Lord, but is there any reason why people don't cross that line?
Most people here feel sick when we get there.
Feel
Like,
sick, you said.
like I don't know how to describe it. It's like, you ever been on like a cliff edge or something like that?
Sure.
Like you're in like a moment of, if I do this thing, if I jump, I'm dead. Like not like any hesitation that you might not die, but like I will be dead, like that sort of thing.
Not with cliffs.
Well, it doesn't have to be cliffs. That was just an example, but
That's because you cheat.
I
Sorry.
don't cheat.
that's
Focus, gentlemen. Yes, go on, please.
That's what it feels like for us.
I imagine it's not just for you. Even animals are steering clear of it. There's a reason.
Yeah, like, and he sort of points over as you're passing by one of the farms. You see like just a long band of just wild flowers and stuff that are escaping the clutches of the cattle, but are also not braving the petrification line either. Just this like band of grass. It goes like even the plants don't even grass.
I don't suppose you've heard any possibility of like smugglers or bandits using the land to hide themselves, do you?
Well, that's kind of the weird thing about this area specifically. Ain't no bandits to speak of. That's kind of why a lot of us are still here. There's no real monsters whatsoever. Like we might see a big eagle every now and then, but in terms of everywhere else in Versia, there ain't much here.
Well, unless there's another one, you might not need to worry about the eagle anymore.
Oh, that'll please some of the farmers. Ain't much threat. Eagle ain't much threat to a miner.
That's a fair point.
And he goes, well, this is me. I'm gonna go speak to the Lord. Give my regards to Ben. And he
Will do.
heads down the road, heading to the manor.
May I ask your name, sir?
Oh, Hugo.
Sorry, Hugo?
Hugo, yeah.
Good to meet you. I'm Kothus.
Gives a slight nod and yeah. And he heads
I'll
off.
doubtless see you back at the tavern.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. So you start heading down the sort of not really so much as a road, but a dirt track that's heavily worn by cattle, horses, a cart, and the people that live there. And you come into a small, modest farmyard. There's a small house that looks pretty rickety and pretty old, but homely. As you start approaching, you see a middle-aged human with a frustrated look on his face. He goes, "Hey, you! You seen two brats around here?"
Not
That's
so far.
confusing.
He shakes his head and sort of looks back and goes across the farm and at his sheep. He goes, "They went to bring the sheep in an hour ago. Storm's coming." Sort of points at the clouds ahead.
Where do they normally graze?
The kids or the sheep?
The sheep.
And he sort of points over to like a small herd of like maybe 20, 25 sheep scattered about. He goes, in there.
All right. And the kids?
They tend to wild kids. I ain't been one for sticking around since the mum passed, but up and round here, up trees, on the hills, sometimes in the mine, talking to the methods, here and there. Maybe wandering into the village itself sometimes.
Are you aware, or did you send away two old men who claimed to be your sons?
Have they paid you?
No, I'm afraid they've died.
Oh, well, I mean, if forgive me if I'm not up about it. There's been a bit of a stressor in life as of late.
So you do know of them.
Unfortunately, yeah.
And you sent them away
Because they
because
claim to be my kids.
How long
Just-
ago was
just-
this roughly?
2 winters back.
Oh, and you've definitely seen your kids since then.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell them to bring in the sheep.
I'd hope so, or else those sheep have been out there for a while.
Wait, what's this? You just need to tell me the 2 old men died?
well, we found it concerning the way they behaved. They look like twins. They acted like twins, and they spoke as if they knew you quite familiarly.
I swear that we thought they were bewitched by a hag or something. Harmless and old. They just sort of, kept to themselves, moving into an old, ruined hut a while back. But yeah, just sort of gives a slight shrug. Oh, those damn kids.
Right.
Okay.
Try and find the kids.
How long ago was it? An hour? Could there be tracks still?
I mean, I can't pay anything.
Got a good
th-
deed
mean,
for the day.
Are you actually concerned about them, or do you just suspect they'll be back when they're hungry?
They'll be back when they're hungry, probably.
Okay, so then, gentlemen, do we think there's anything else that he can assist us with the our actual work here?
I'd like to see this old hut they were staying at. Maybe they weren't the crazy old guys they thought they were.
Honestly,
Uh-huh.
this man's children have been on the other side of that line. What information they have could be helpful, but that being
Is
said,
this what this is about?
well, that's why we're here. But honestly, when I send someone to go do something and they don't do it, that concerns me. Let's find this man's children.
It's like I did see them milling about the edge this morning. I sort of going to turn and look over at the borderline, which is not too far away at this point, until he sort of spots something over in Amberhall, and he's like, "Wait, what the?" And as he's sort of looking in that direction, everybody else, can you roll perception checks, please? Okay. Alrighty. Gash. There's a mine over there with a whole bunch of methods. And just sort of looking and in that direction and not really paying any attention to the current conversation, or at least where it sort of died out. Angor and Colfus, you hear screams coming from the village, and you're seeing just a whole bunch of people coming up the road. Shades, thematically appropriate that you see this. A shadow has sort of fallen over the village of Amberhall, as you see a mounted individual riding up the main street. Ahead of him, a whole pack of these sort of wolf-like creatures, enshrouded in shadows. Various individuals from Amberhall start rushing up the road, as if being herded up the streets towards the manor and the mine.
think that's our cue to go help.
Ben, go in your house, go in the basement, lock and bar the doors, and do not answer for absolutely anyone until daylight.
He sort of looks at you guys a little bit. Goes, what about the kids?
Indeed.
Well, that will have to be one problem at a time. For now, the fact that they are not here is their best chance at survival.
You see at this point, the crowd of people are about a mile away from you at this point, coming up that road. And the individual with the horse that's following him, is not too far behind. It doesn't look like they're being actively chased. But there's just this sort of slow, ever-present wall of hounds that appear to be increasing in number as it gets closer.
And you said they're now within a mile?
Within a mile, yeah.
I'm gonna burn Primeval Awareness. I'm burning a spell slot.
Okay.
Aberrations, Celestial, Dragons, Elementals, Fae, Fiend, and Undead. Within 1 mile.
In 1 mile. Elementals, Undead, Celestial, and Fae.
And I know what the Celestial and the Fae are, and I have a hint at what the Elementals are.
No.
Would you like to share with the class before we block the road?
That, whatever it is undead, and it's coming this way.
Brilliant.
I suspect it's the same thing I mentioned earlier that was hunting us. Or
I do believe
me.
he's found some more companions, anyway. Gentlemen, let's block the road. That thing does not get past us.
Alrighty. So yeah, as the day is sort of fading, and the more and more shadows are being cast, as the sun starts setting over the mountains, you're seeing more and more of these hounds appearing in various different places.
Yeah, I agree with Cultist. Let's build an ambush site on the road and as many places to hide and disappear into as possible.
Alrighty. You see from this distance, there's a sort of bell from the manor, and the doors are opened, and as the villagers pass you by, they all start funneling towards the manor. And the Shadowhounds come racing, not necessarily from the mine, but they come racing from the shadows created by the mountains. That's not what I was wanting. In sort of this direction, as well as coming from up the road from here. It seems whatever you are going to attempt, you want to do it quickly. But it looks like what might have been maybe like 20 of these creatures that's accompanying the mounted individual, who is at this point that I'll describe. In the dim light, you see the creatures as they start fanning across the road, even going beyond it and like helping into the fields and passing underneath fences and around trees and rocks and whatever else there is there. You see the horse now in detail. The horse is rotting and almost skeletal in places, but other times it's not. Atop it, you see a a warrior dressed in heavy plates, although the metal plate itself is mangled and torn at the neck. You see a black cape that has been torn to rags, and you can just barely see a silvery emblem sort of etched into the cape itself. One time it probably would have looked quite fine, but now just looks dirty and rotten as much as the person wearing it. Pointed towards the ground, he is carrying a long greatsword, and in his left hand there is a large ivory horn that he brings to his lips, and he blows. As he blows the horn, the black dogs are covered in shadows. Also begin moving, and each in turn start howling, joining in the horn blow. I need everyone, as you're getting ready to try and set up an ambush, to roll me a DC 15 Wisdom saving throw.
Oh, okay. It's gonna be fun.
Hold on. Shade, you have disadvantage, as this horn sounds incredibly familiar.
Shit.
Oh wait, no, I'm fine. Oh,
Wisdom.
DC 15.
Yeah,
Did I
no,
pass?
that's me.
We both have white dice.
Angorr, you have
So I think-
passed.
No.
Cultus is
Fail.
definitely not fond of losing.
Holy
meeting up with
crap.
Undead.
Okay.
Well, I guess there's a reason I survived the city in the first place. I pass on the low roll.
Okay. So Angorr, sorry, not Angorr, Akash and Colthus, as the rest of the party tries to get into action and start setting up an ambush, every instinct of yours is telling you, run. There's just too many of them. Get out of here. Run. Angorr and Shade, whilst you overcome the fear effect and you can act as you wish, every time you glance around, there is more of them. You may act as you wish.
Shade, this is your
Could-
call.
Could I put heroism on myself?
There's no reason why you can't. You are frightened though.
And that's-
Actually,
that's
post the spell so I can just check. You probably can.
Cultus is taking a few steps back. He is,
Uh,
upon second glance, not having any of this.
yeah, no, it doesn't say other than yourself, so yeah, you can do that.
Okay, I am going to put that on myself because it's going to last up to a minute, but that's going to knock away that fear
Yep.
on me. So Akash will sort of like breathe in heavily, like put his hand on himself, focus, and then all of a sudden just calm and just go, this is what we do, boys. This is what we do.
Shade, as you're sort of standing, the shadow having extended over this area now as well, you have gone invisible. However, at this distance, you feel the eyes up from this creature turn and look at you directly. Can I have a perception check from you, please?
Okay.
Oh.
Wow. Okay. Crucial roll here.
Okay.
You didn't recognize it on the previous night, but you recognize it now. You have a cape, or had a cape, very much like the one that the rider is wearing. and you recognize the armor belonging to Macretia of Castellan's City Guard. He was your captain and your boss. He's now here. He lowers the horn from his lips, and he rasps in a voice that you've heard before, "Survivors will perish." And the voice booms out loudly across the valley. The hounds have given up the chase on the villagers at this point, who are all, still running towards the manor, but they're being aimed more now towards you.
From the shadows, you'll hear fighting retreat, stay in formation, do not panic. If you run, they will chase you down. And he's going to prepare to fire on the closest approaching of the dogs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're maintaining their distance. Given it's a mile, what's the range on your hand crossbow?
Long range is 120 because normal range is 30 feet. But because of sharpshooter, I ignore it, so it's effectively 120.
120. Okay. So they are still a bit of a ways out. The rest of you. So I'm going to say you're readying an action so that when they're in range, you're going to fire. The rest of you.
I think given the nature of Cultus's abysmal roll being a natural 1, he is not going to be doing that.
Okay.
But I'm not really sure how to recover from this. Like, he's definitely going to be panicking.
Alrighty.
Would that be another save of some kind on the next turn?
Yeah. So we're doing it sort of loosey-goosey right now. So I'll let you do an action. And then following your action, you can perform another wisdom saving throw, DC 15.
Okay.
So if there's something that you want to do whilst you're within that feared state, feel free.
Yeah, I think at first he's going to be following the rest of the villagers. That seems like a good direction to go in.
Alrighty.
When these
assuming we're moving into a pseudo combat type stance where we're taking like an action and a movement, I think the idea is basically Cultist panicked and full movement for both action and movement. Shade is basically movement and action, which is readying to defend himself all the way. He's preparing to fight a fighting retreat.
Alrighty, so Cultus, you've turned and you're heading towards the manor. Full speed. Okay. As you turn and start running, there's more on this side as well. They are ignoring the villagers. But you do see them ahead of you, coming down the road.
Fuck, so we're surrounded?
Maybe.
On 3 out of 4 sides.
John?
Is
there anything...
Hold on. Cultus, wisdom saving throw, please. Before I forget.
Say again?
Wisdom saving throw, please. DC 15.
Okay. Oh, please be good.
Hey.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so now seeing that you are surrounded at least on 3 sides. Like, okay. Focus. And you steel yourself just a little bit. You're no longer frightened. Akash?
Is there anything that looks like they actually have ranged attacks, or are they all anything that gives that impression?
It looks, from what you guess, they're all melee focused.
Okay. So his first thing that we'll do is probably be a shatter spell. And he'll try and get
What's the range on that?
The range of it is up to 60 feet, but the actual effective sphere is a 10-foot sphere.
Yeah.
So we'll try and get as many of them in that as possible.
Okay, so you're holding a shatter spell.
I am holding a shatter spell.
Okay. because they're still like, from this point, they're maybe 600 feet out at this point. Alrighty, Angorr.
Are the hounds still shadows?
They are encapsulated in shadows. But they do. You can see that they're the various forms of them.
They're not shadow creatures, they're just surrounded by shadows.
Yeah, it looks like.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. You don't know if they are shadows themselves or they just look like shadows, or just have shadows hanging around them. You don't know. You've never seen them before.
How close is the captain of the guard? And I'm sorry, I didn't hear his name clearly.
Mercretia. He is 600 feet out. He's working more or less parallel to the creatures he's accompanying.
How next round are they going to be on top of us?
No. You've got a
Okay.
few rounds before they get close.
Okay.
So what would you like to do, Akash?
I'm going to hold an Eldritch Blast until one's within 120 feet.
Okay.
And then just mimic Shade's action, who I think's backed up a little bit.
Okay.
I think our direction might be changing soon, though, because we were starting to go towards where Cultus was fleeing and the townspeople were fleeing. But that seems like that's not an option anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I might give out a couple of bardic inspirations. Wait, no, I've got something else. So I have.
Hold on,
Ooh,
I need. Hold on, I'm just gonna check real quick. Akash, you've got an Eldritch Blast poised.
Angorr.
Oh, sorry, Angorr.
Angorr
Sorry.
has an
Yep.
Eldritch. Angorr has
Yep,
an
my
Eldritch
bad.
Blast poised.
Alrighty. Hang on. That's why it's in a different order. I was like, I lost a character sheet. Okay.
Oh yeah, how's Skit doing?
Chat.
Shet doing?
Give me a second. Oh, I almost forgot about him.
Oh,
Oh, we
helps
left
if-
him behind.
Oh. Oh yeah, no, he's. Yeah, you have no
Oh.
idea where he is. Yeah,
Chet might be dead.
at this point. Yeah, no. There's a reason I forgot about him because he's not here. Yeah, no, he might be in the crowd of people. But they pass so quickly that you didn't get a proper look at them. Alrighty, so we'll come back to Shade. What would you like to do?
Well, they have us surrounded on 3 sides, and numbers are strongly in their favor.
Mm-hmm.
Would an army of the damned dared to go into a city that was damned by the same being? I don't think there's much else for it then. And he'll call out to the rest of the party. Tamun, make for the city. And he will continue to fighting retreat,
Mm-hmm.
30 feet of movement, and he's holding his hand crossbowed ready for the first enemy that gets within 120 feet.
Okay. So as you guys start moving towards the city, that is when they all start racing towards you. You see the hounds instantly start rushing towards you. You see Macretia on the horse kicks into gear and starts racing as well. Granted, they're still 600 feet out, but that net that they have is closing.
So he was moving casually until we start
Mhm.
moving toward the city, and now he's kicking
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah.
He doesn't
How
want
far
us
away
to
from the
go
city
there.
are we?
What was that, sorry?
How far from the city are we?
I mean,
Or at least the border.
yeah, you're at this farm here, so you've got 1.5 miles. So, given the pace, you probably get right onto the border as they catch up.
Can't just abandon the townsfolk.
They're not after the townsfolk, and in case you didn't notice, there's not much we can do about it. They're on the other side of the line of dogs and
Yeah.
horses.
Yeah, yeah. They've brushed past the villages. That is, they've brushed past the creatures, and the creatures didn't eat. Like, you might have seen one or two of them sort of chomp at the villagers. Oh,
John,
hold on. You saw like one or two of them chomp at the villagers, but they didn't attack. Seemingly maybe getting them out of the way.
Gotcha. Okay. So basically, from what we're seeing, it looks as though they're definitely after certain members of the party.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cash question. Which question?
is it possible to like roll an insight check if Shade runs to the borderline and we split it off? Would they would we assume that they attack us afterwards?
I don't think you would have that information.
No, okay, that seems fair.
Um,
We can't really assume anything beyond what
Yeah.
we're seeing directly. They're after.
I mean, you could roll an insight check, but it probably wouldn't tell you anything that you don't already know.
No, that's fine. In this case, I will probably just, if it's possible, to do a Mantle of Inspiration,
Mhm.
which is a bonus action. Spend one use of my Bardic Inspiration, and I grant 3 people 5 temporary hit points, and we can all use our immediate reaction to travel our speed, or they can travel up to their speed.
Okay.
So I will be a bit far behind, but everybody will also have 5 temporary hit points on top of their things when things do kick off.
Alrighty. So, is everybody rushing to the border?
I think we're at the point where fighting retreat is not really an option. If they're
Okay.
going to start rushing, we need to go fast.
Okay. Angorr, I just want confirmation.
Yep.
Yep. All right. So, we sort of break into a panning scene of the party just breaking into an absolute run. The thunderous sort of beats of an undead horse, accompanied by packs upon packs of these shadowy hounds. In sort of desperation, seemingly to try and stop you from getting across that threshold. One by one, you sort of leave behind the farm and sort of make it across the paddock, for lack of a better term, where they keep the sheep. Usually, the sheep aren't there at this moment in time. You sort of hop over fences and duck around whatever else there might be there, until you're almost sort of bowled over by grass that doesn't move when you step on it. It's a really awkward feeling about standing on blades of grass that aren't, conforming to your footprints and just staying there. We'll say Angorr makes it across, then Colphus, then Shades, and then with these shadowy hounds nipping at his feet almost, Akash gets over last, considering your speed is a little bit less than everybody else. And even whilst they're sort of rushing, the hounds seem to fade from your vision, almost like Shade does. In fact, almost exactly like Shade. But you do hear them snarling and growling, almost as if like pacing up and down the border. You see like the grass sort of moving as their invisible shapes trace the borderline. You also see Macretia come up right at the very edge of the border. And do you stop once you're across the edge, or do you stay there?
I want to stay within crossbow range of the edge.
Alrighty. So you stay within 120 feet?
Yeah, maybe say 90 feet. I want to be able to shoot out.
Mm-hmm. He sort of races up. Gone.
Cultist would have stayed basically within range to cover, and then, move back with the others.
Alrighty. So yeah, I'll say each of you find, some relatively light cover as what best there is there. And you see him race right up to the very edge and then just stop and just stare directly at you, Shade. He is within 120 feet. But he's staring directly at you despite the fact that you're invisible.
I want to take a single action, and as just a little bit of flair to it, I simply say, give my regards to the Lord of Boons, and I want to fire a crossbow bolt right between his eyes.
Alrighty, roll an attack. Ooh, 19 to hit. Yeah, roll damage. Nice. Okay. So, yeah, you fire the bolts into the head of Macretia, and it's almost as if he doesn't even blink. The arrow hits. Does, a decent amount of damage, but his undead, unfeeling flesh doesn't appear to really react to the pain, if there is any pain. And just reaches up and pulls the arrow out of his forehead and just tosses it across the border.
Does anything change about the bolt when it crosses the border?
No.
But he doesn't come across the border either.
No. And then you see him. It's almost as if like he is sort of engulfed in smoke. Almost as if he's like not necessarily burning away, but like you see bits of him just sort of flake away and he disappears. But that black shadow just hangs over Amberhall. As if waiting. And that, I think, is where we're going to end.
Cultist could say one thing before we
sure.
fade out. So you escaped one judge city to find shelter in another.
I really hate the gods.
I think you just hate that god.
Work in weird ways, don't they, the gods?
Yeah, and yeah, we'll pick this up next time with you guys making your way into Mun with our final session of Stone's Gaze. So, yeah. See you guys next time, I guess. Goodbye. Next session is going to be probably within a week, maybe 2 weeks. We'll see. Yeah, so bye-bye.